We break up and then we 2 o'clock and now we're day drunk. Love it when we hate fuck. Nobody can change us. When we dance and then we fall off.
Welcome, Smite fans, to the mid-season Galerius Smite League finals. My name is Evo, and tonight I am joined with Blank Tsukiyomi. This is Dave's versus Hels minions. How you feel about tonight's games, Dave? Blank.
Dave.
Dave. Blank. You
Great
know what I
start.
mean.
We're off to a great start.
Rough
I mean,
listen here.
not knowing much about either team here so far. I know a couple of players. Archie Baker's a big one, and that's about it. That's all I know about these two teams. Be interesting though, because they're supposed to be a lot better at Smite than I am. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see the picks and bans, which we got. We've also got printers doing the observing down there. I mean, you know a lot more about these teams. I mean, how do you feel about these games?
I don't know much about some of the members, I will be perfectly honest with you here. However, a couple of the members on both teams I do know I've played with, be it casually or alongside with on teams, and casted their games in the past. And based on the kind of a bit of information that I do know, it would definitely be Archie's team here, Team Dave's, that I would give the edge on just at the minute looking at it, but that's like say just off of a kind of personal preference and kind of just based slightly on what I know more about them, even though I do know players like IM4 and Disco, very incredibly good players, and I definitely wouldn't count them out, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what happens.
No, yeah, I am. It's going to be definitely an interesting game, and we are obviously having technical difficulties as of GSL. Go figure that. But you know, it wouldn't be GSL without technical difficulties. But yeah, I mean, Disco Fairy versus Archers should be a decent one in the jungle, and I'm looking forward to the draft picks and bans here. But you know, we've got to wait for our observer to do that, don't we?
Technical issues, I do believe. Just heard from production. I think there is a remake on the lobby here, so
yes,
it's all going swimming as expected. We're only 11 minutes late, and everything is already broken.
It is. It's great. I mean, I'm running out of things to talk about. What we like, you know. I don't know these players.
Oh God, Blank, man. It's fine. Don't worry. I'm here to lead the way forwards. So rather than you stressing about the players specifically, how about we look more to what we're expecting to do in terms of a game plan going forward, especially with the most recent changes to the Smite scene, with the buffs to percentage increases, 40% on the health and the protections of all the gods, as well as a lot of the most recent meta shifts, as well as the massive nerf to a lot of the hunter items in the most recent bonus patch. Kind of what would you expect these teams to be looking? Do you expect double hunters, especially in the solo side? Or do you think it's going to be a lot more warriors with a lot of the recent changes?
Well, with the bonus patch especially, I think they're definitely warriors have been given their kill potential back towards the hunters, and therefore I do think the triple hunter meta that we've been seeing coming in is probably going to be shifting back towards hopefully bringing warriors back into the solo lane. Saying that though, the bans are coming through. And we've got, for Hell's minions, Baron, Yamoja, and Chernenbog. And for Dave's, we've got KA, Mercury, and Cartley. Now, I mean, this is pretty what I would expect to see from these so far. I mean, KA is a new one, but I know, especially in ranked and all the games I've been playing recently, with the Glad Shield buff, KA's been doing a lot recently.
Yeah, that's for sure. The changes to the Glad Shield reducing or removing, should I say, the HP requirement off of it. It just allows K cycling through his abilities to output a huge amount of damage extra. The Carly and Mercury, incredibly high carry potential in the jungle here. Carly, since I think the most recent changes with games kind of dragging out longer, but also helping to and scaling up, I feel, a little bit quicker towards the later stages of the game. She just has that potential to kind of run away with the late game team fights and really look to carry players.
No, yes, I agree. And we are looking, it looks like, to be picking up a Nemesis here, which is a very, very good jungler currently in the meta. And yes, that will be locked in for Hell's minions. Probably one of the better, junglers in the game currently.
Yeah, definitely. The ultimate, as per usual with Nemesis, is always the main talking point. I find not only her ability as well, though, two rundown squishy targets, having the two dashes, the slow on the slice and dice as well, but it forces Daisy into a position where they could still look for these big tanky frontliners in the solo, in the support, and maybe even looking towards maybe tankier options in the jungle as well. But it suddenly forces them away and to force them to look for something else because you really don't want to put too much on towards that front line to a degree because your nemesis, if they're ahead especially, will just be able to take away one of those frontline options.
No, yeah, that's I mean, that leads to a very bursty protection shredding comp. What is that we've got on the stream?
I do believe that was the kiss cam that was redeemed in Twitch chat.
Okay, that's what that looks
okay,
like.
I'm so confused and also horrified at the same time.
What is... Yeah, yeah. What is interesting though is Jing Wei not being banned or picked so far. Well, not being banned or first picked. I mean, I've seen a lot of Jing Wei bans. Do you think Jing Wei's fallen off with the bonus patch? Obviously the nerfs to crit, the nerfs to gilded. Are we just, is Jing Wei dead now?
I don't necessarily think Jing Wei's in a position where she's dead. Yes, they did nerf a few of the crit items, which definitely hurt her having the inbuilt crit on the explosive bolts, scaling up to the 20% of max rank. And then obviously the nerf to Deathbringer, reducing the crit damage increase. But I definitely think that it's a position where she's probably still one of the top ADCs in the game, but not one to where she's suddenly fallen so far out of favour that she's not going to get picked. But speaking of that, though, there was Chernobog actually that they did decide to ban instead of the Jingwei. So maybe with the recent changes, gods and picks like the Chernobog have seen more favour potentially. But it is also the extra benefit of having a global rotation based god as well taken off the table.
No, yes. With the Chernobog, you get anywhere you're at max tanking content, and it gives you just that flexibility to leave the carry lane earlier than you would necessarily want to. The other bans, obviously, on Hels, we've got a lot of healing trick gods being banned out. I see Baron being banned out a lot. Yamoja, a very good Guardian if you know how to play her. I don't know anyone that plays her well, but maybe I shall see today.
Yeah, unfortunately to admit, I am one of those not so good players on Yamoja. As much as I tried to play, I just don't get along with the god, unfortunately. But no, I definitely agree. Baron, I think, has been strong for quite a few patches now. I think over in the solo lane, especially, even though he's one of those gods that we have seen in the support role as well. He can flex between the two, provides a lot for his team. The healing is definitely nothing to be understated, and the ultimate in a team fight, with it being essentially a mini execute at 10% burst damage on the initial contact when you manage to pull someone in, it can be incredibly disruptive, and it is something that can be quite awkward for some teams to play around.
No, yeah. I just feel like Baron can be countered somewhat easily, and maybe that ban spot could be focused towards someone else, like hard late game carry, because we are seeing games go to that 20-30 minute mark more often. We could see, I don't know, I would have preferred to have seen more of like the Nem ban, but obviously they wanted to pick that up. But so maybe like a Photh or a Persephone, someone that's going to be pumping those numbers, not quite in the early, but a lot more in the later portions of the game.
Yeah, I agree. And as well as looking in mid lane, you've also got stuff that other gods as well that haven't been taken off the table or potentially could be looked at here. Stuff like the Baba Yaga, I know is quite popular at the moment, and I've seen quite a few teams rolling around in not just this league, but a couple of the other ones actually. Mid laners definitely happy to pick her up. So there's definitely a couple of strong options still on the table here for both teams to look for.
Yes, I am actually interested to see if they do, as you said, go back to that hunter meta where they put a hunter in mid and they just roll with the 2 to 3 hunters in a game, or if they will actually, as we've been talking, bring the warriors back in with the glad shield, or if they decide again to use more hunters and just be bursting those objectives and towers, because the more hunters, obviously, the quicker the objectives can be falling.
Yeah, which is a big requirement with they did slightly nerf a couple of the objectives, especially red buff on the most recent bonus patch, but with such a strong incentive to 4-5-man group for objectives with the most recent changes to the objectives as well, giving them the bonus power as well as the magic scaling and the bonus protections, you kind of have to look for a full team commit on something, and I feel as that might be why they look for something like the Chernobog off the table. you can look to try and force a fire giant over on the opposite side of the map, and the duo lane really are going to struggle to rotate in time, but a Chernobog can quite easily get over from the duo 1v1 straight over to a pyro, and it really starts to split the fights and go from looking at these 4v5s to a 5v4, and it's a very difficult situation to be in.
True, true. We are still waiting on Dave's first picks here, which is more technical issues. It's fine. Player issues. Oh, okay. Dave's obviously having a very hard time deciding what they want to pick first. Maybe it's a bit scared to fight at Hels, obviously. But yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting game of coming up.
Been an interesting game when we know what's happening. We've managed to fill blank air with a good 10 minutes worth of talking about 6 bands and a pick as Ratatoska. There we go. Technical problems, I believe, have been resolved.
Ratatoska.
Here we go.
Now, I don't like Ratatoska.
Do you not?
I really don't like Ratatoska.
I love Rat.
I just don't think he's... There are better junglers you can pick than Ratatoska.
Now, counter-argument.
It's RGB.
Is it... Counter-argument, though, is it necessarily jungle?
This is true. We have seen a Ratatoska go into the solo lane. You know what? Could even be Rat support. Who knows?
It could be. However, Jingwei, as you did mention, still looking to be one of the top unders in the game, has now finally picked here on the side of Dave's. But Rat can flex. He has known to be going into the solo. And I think with Glad Shield as well, actually, with the protection acorn on a Ratatoska, with a tanky hybrid build, I think you could probably get a lot out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it should be very interesting. I think I would prefer that to be in the solo lane, but it does give them the flexibility to see, obviously, if they don't want to fight an Achilles in solo, which, I mean, if I was Rat, I really wouldn't want to be fighting Achilles in solo.
No, me neither. No, I agree with you for definite. As that is Achilles locked and finally locked in, and Apollo locked for the second and third picks for Hell's minions here. Apollo, a lot of rotations, so they got rid of the Chernobog on Hell's minions side here. Stop the potential counter global rotation from the side of Dave's. Pick up Apollo for themselves. Definitely a nice choice in terms of the picks and bans that they decided to go with here, and a lot of pressure to be put out.
Yes. Now, if I was Dave's here, I'd almost be wanting to pick up an Athena on my next spot to kind of cancel out Apollo's rotations. If you ever see an Apollo ulting in, you could pick up an Athena. Athena ults in, and the Apollo's ult is completely negated because you have the extra person there.
Yeah, it allows for at least some form of counter rotation as Osiris is locked in here, so it does mean that this should be a Ratatoska more than likely in the jungle, but at the same time, I guess Osiris could also be played in the jungle. I'm hoping for these weird flexes, and these are flexes that do work and have seen play in the past, but I wouldn't hold my breath on it.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Osiris jungle actually, so it's gonna be exciting to see where they put either Rat or Osiris. But Osiris being one of the better solo laners currently because he works so well with the auto attack based warriors, but he also kind of flexes into building Glad Shield as well. His abilities kind of hurt a lot, so it's going to be a very interesting solo or jungle lane. We've got the bans coming through of Ganesh and Capri, and on Hels we've got Afro, and we're still waiting for the last ban. Getting rid of those very good Guardians, obviously, they don't want the Capri to keep the Jing in the fight too long. And the Ganesh, they don't want to be silenced and have a Nem stuck in the fight.
Yeah.
I don't want to be stuck in a fight by the silence from the Ganesh.
Yeah, the Ganesh, I can agree with. When you're playing stuff like the Ratatoska, who kind of is reliant on a lot of kind of quick bursty abilities to get through, especially as well the Osiris. Being able to silence someone out of abilities is definitely awkward. Aphrodite, there was a ban I didn't expect to see, I'll admit. One of those kind of mages that's kind of more troll, if anything. I find a lot of players kind of believe. Tends to be in the mid lane where it doesn't feel like it does enough damage and doesn't transition amazing into the late game. In support, it just doesn't have enough CC. And then Kabrak in here is also a bit of a weird one as well for me.
I mean, obviously, I don't know the players. Maybe these are targeted. Maybe one of the Dave's players has an insane Bracken or a really good Afro. But again, I don't see the Afro doing enough in mid or solo. And obviously, the solo has already been picked. So they're banning out the mid Afro or the support Afro, which I just don't feel is viable currently in this meta. But they must know something that I don't.
Yeah, clearly, that's for sure. I mean, Karakin can be very awkward to deal with when he's able to W key and 2 stuns plus the wall. I guess in the position of Hell's minions here, they haven't really got any way to deal with the walls from a Karakin ultimate. So I guess the
Yeah.
lockdown potentially something they didn't want to deal with. I like the hover of the East out there a moment for days, but Thoth, a lot of long range damage being able to get put out, and with stuff like this Osiris and even the Red Tosca, set up for the ultimate from the for the Thoth, as well as a lot of zoning and peel potential for it. So I think the Thoth is a pretty good pick here. But I would like to see what Hell's minions decide to pick up in response.
When you're picking a Thoth, you don't want to be you don't want to have an enemy team that can engage on you so hard. You want free reign. You want to be able to leave when you dash away. That dash has got a lot of range. But if you're against an enemy team that has the follow up, it's very hard to play a Thoth. And the Nem, I feel like a Nem has that ability to catch a Thoth after the dash, but it obviously depends on positioning and obviously the supports.
That's for sure. You've got to be very quick on the Thoth to try and get a wall behind yourself to get that extended dash range. However, if there's one thing that I do agree, I don't think Thoth is necessarily a fan of going into. Ymir is one of those gods. You're going to get warded and then bombed by an Agni Noxious Gas on cooldown. This is going to be a very rough mid lane when the supports start to rotate over. And that is Fenrir locked and hovered, so Fenrir known for one of those gods, actually a great counter to the Thoth here, but picked up. So it should be, I would dare to say, we're saying Fenrir in the support, I would like to assume this is. I don't think I would expect to see the Ratatoska, and definitely not the Osiris over in that lane.
Hear me out. This is a long shot.
Okay.
Ratatoska support. Osiris solo. Fenrir jungle. It's happening.
I could see it.
I want the rat support. It's so good. Maybe it's troll, but I don't know. I feel like Rat is so good at just being tanky and abusive. The stuns, the knockups. But yeah, maybe he's a solo. But it's probably more likely in the solo. I do like the pickup of Agni trying to fight that Thoth at range. One of the only more ranged mid laners. So it's going to be a ranged matchup, and the Ymir obviously picked to try and close down that mid lane to try and stop the Thoth dash backwards. And if that Thoth ever gets caught out by a Ymir wall, that's going to be a dead Thoth.
It's going to be a very awkward position to be in. Thoth needs to be able to create space from his opponents with stuff like you say as well, the Nemesis as well, and now the Ymir as well as Achilles, I guess, as well, has the double dash potential. Thoth could be in a very awkward position and he's going to have to be very careful in these later team fights. However, funnily enough, Ymir doesn't do quite so well into Osiris passive, allowing him to walk through the player-made walls, such as obviously the Ymir wall, as well as stuff like the Odin Cage as well. Obviously not seen here, but extra little tidbit of information there. But Ymir also got into the Jingwei. If you wall behind her knock-up, if she's trying to escape, she kind of has a very limited space where to move.
Yes, no, I completely agree. But the Ymir especially is going to be very immobile, so maybe that is going to be a target for the Thoth ults and the Fenrir ults. I feel like he needs to have a beads first relic. Otherwise, he's just going to get camped without the immovability at least. So not being able to pick up a supportive relic like Shell, maybe that'll hinder them slightly.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think a Shell as well actually could potentially be an option. Phantom Shell, just to try and break away from the Ymir, would be potentially a great pickup just to help, because obviously Ymir Wall, not only for the duration that it lasts, but it is able to close off an entire escape route in the jungle. Can be very difficult for these teams to look to deal with.
Yes, no, on Dave's team I would especially love to see a Phantom Shell respecting the Ymir. Obviously now that Phantom isn't its own relic, being moved over to Shell makes it a lot better to be picked up for just the Ymir wall.
I think it makes it better you get the extra utility, but at the same time, that is still an 800 gold cost that a support or potentially solo laner is having to expend to try and help his team out. And I think it can make the pickup kind of awkward in certain situations here.
No, yeah, the 800 gold cost does definitely put a deficit into your gold. But if you get a lead and your lead is like 500 gold, you don't really see the 300 deficit straight away, and the upgrade
No.
can help you in team fights if you get that upgraded early.
Yeah, no,
but
I agree.
based on the draft here, I mean, who are you calling for game one?
I liked where Dave's was going, and I'm kind of not 100% sure yet which I want to call, because I'm looking at the teams, and as we've discussed already quite a few times, is where is this Ratatoska going, the Osiris, the Fenrir. I'm assuming it's going to be the Rat in the jungle, and then Osiris into solo. I would like to see them go for something a bit flex. I prefer a tanky build on the Rat. I think his full burst isn't quite as good.
No, yeah.
So I definitely think that it depends what they go for, but at the same time, Hell's Minions, if they can hold the Thoth down and not let them run away with any sort of lead, then I think Hell's Minions could definitely look to take game one here, but I'm not 100% sure yet.
Yeah. Well, my opinion, the draft wise, I mean, the Thoth, if the Ymir can successfully shut down the Thoth dashes and the Jingwei dashes and keeping them all locked down, it could go in the way quite heavily in the way of Hell's minions. But if Dave can stop that Ymir from doing anything, maybe, if he doesn't get beads, run at him with the Fenrir, take him out of the game, and then just have free reign. I mean, I think this could go to Dave's, so it could go either way from drafts, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think just depending on where some of these picks go depends really how this game is going to look. Anyway, as we are just about to get into the game shortly, we're going to throw it over to a quick break. Everyone, stick around for it with us, and we'll be back shortly getting into game one.
And we're back with the Hell's Minions versus Dave's final of the mid-season. So it is Ratatoska support, and I called it, and I love it. Honestly, I love it.
You and me
but
both.
we are seeing the red start. I love this start. Everyone, I don't know, all of my ranked players that I play with aren't starting red. It's just better. You don't miss anything. It stops the back invade. It's just it's just better. And if the person doesn't go it, you just go oracles on the second wave, and you don't miss out
Yeah.
on anything. So the start is just significantly better, and we're seeing it. Don't see Hog on any of the junglers for that back camp. I am used to everyone picks up Hog usually, and it takes a lot longer to take that XP camp than they otherwise would. And now they're probably losing 1 or 2 minions in the wave here.
Yeah, looking at it here, actually, Ptolemy opted to go to lane on his own. Archie going just to grab his second lot of backs as well. Just a small 2 harpies at the back, getting himself that extra little bit of an XP lead from the jungle, but in terms of sitting in wave, he is actually slightly behind here. But I do agree with you as well, though. I think that the red start is definitely more optimal as looking to fight in both the mid and duo here, but no full commit just yet.
No. The Achilles looking very low here, trying to trade with an Osiris. Oh, and I believe the game has been paused. That is a very early time to be fighting an Osiris. It seems to be about equal, though. I mean, what are the? Let's have a look at the builds for the Osiris. The Osiris has
I've
gone.
just noticed he's rushing for this gold blade build here. As you can see, the 1000th old blade already, so hasn't got any extra early protections from items. Has also, I'm guessing, losing out quite a bit because of the bluestone on the Achilles, just helping him clear that extra bit quicker, and also helping him with that extra little bit of poke. Achilles damage from his abilities, especially because he has the dash as well as the shield bash, will just give him a lot of extra ticks on the bluestone passive and a lot of burst.
Yes, I mean I don't necessarily agree with the rush into Golden Blade. I do think you need that early protections, especially against an Achilles. For going the relic choice though on the Osiris, obviously not knowing who was in his lane, maybe the rush into Golden Blade, not assuming Achilles was in his lane, and foregoing those protections, thinking he could survive up until the point where he gets Golden Blade.
Yeah, definitely something you could have looked for here. I think with the Osiris in the solo lane, though, I still think that something for like the Death's Toll would have been more ideal just for that extra sustaining lane. I think it would have potentially, looking at the health of the two solo laners at the moment, probably would have put him in a more favorable position. I don't think that extra little bit of movement and power off of the tier 2 of Golden Blade will have been that advantageous over something like the Death's Toll passive.
Death's Toll trying to help her keep in the lane, get to that late game. Obviously, Jingwei very good towards the end of the game. It's going to be very interesting, these builds.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice to see some variation over in the duo lane. Started the short bow here, so I think maybe looking for something like an Atlantis or an Ikaiba wanting to bolt as Archie does use the brutalize.
Yes. Oh, and that will be first blood picked up by the Agni onto Agni, punishing that brutalize, and they probably pick up the Foth here, running as the Nem gets the misses, but gets the final basic. That's all that matters. Wow. 2 kills in the way of Hels there. Fenrir obviously going a bit too aggressive and underestimating the power of the Agni dash stun, breaking up the brutalize there.
Yeah, the brutalize onto the Agni there. He still had the dash available to him. That item might have just came off cooldown, but that into the Noxious Fuse with a lot of dot as well as burst damage. Being stunned in the wave of fire is something that you definitely don't want to be in, especially in the early game. It was a shame that on the slice and dice, good juking coming out from Ptolemy in the middle lane on this Thoth, but unfortunately did, as you say, fall down to the final basic attack from Disco on the Nemesis.
I'm almost disappointed that they didn't go for an invade there. They know the red was coming up. They just killed the mid. They just killed the jungle. Quick invade, get the red, and get out.
Yeah, I agree. Archie had just respawned, but I think he probably wouldn't have wanted to have risked going into a 2v1 situation for the red buff, and like you say, with his speed buff coming up as well, I think he'd have sooner opted to get his own farm and try and not fall behind any further on this Tempest, who has got a kill and an assist under her belt, and just try and keep even as best he can.
But yeah, maybe they were worried about the possibility of the duo lane coming in to stop the red, or deemed it too risky on their current HP bars. So very interesting. We've obviously got the Osiris as dead run. Got that now, so he should be raring to fight or at least out clear completely on the Achilles and just farm the entirety of his jungle now.
Yeah, in this situation on this Osiris has the cleaver autos as well, which do help as well on the wave clear. So should be looking, as you say, to clear as quick as possible. Should be out clearing the Achilles now. Hasn't finished the Glad Shield just yet on the Achilles. So should be able to clear, look to maybe try and steal some of the Harpies on his opposing side of the jungle, even in trying to clear his own Harpy, and just try and build as much of a lead in this solo side as possible.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I want him to be stealing the backhands from them. I want him, especially now that they've got a a 2-kill lead. This Osiris really needs to assert his clearing dominance and just take as much as he can from opposing team.
Yeah, but even with that pressure, though, still getting forced out here by the Achilles.
True.
I think it's just that blue stone and the tower shield at the minute, just providing
We are
so
seeing the
much.
Fenrir ult come out straight into tower, abusing the fact that they did not buy leads, and that will be a kill for Archie Baker on Jobfighter on the Achilles. Punishing the fact that he has gone teleport instead of going beads, maybe being slightly out of position there by the Achilles playing too far up.
Yeah, I think Max here on this Osiris just wants to try and not lose as much as possible with this Golden Blade here. Disco is still hovering around though, actually, so might look to fight. Did use the ultimate actually earlier, so hasn't got it to try and box.
Slightly out of mana, but I think it'll be as just a little poke and a disengage, maybe trying to get the Osiris through earlier back than what he wanted to do, at least.
I agree with you, and I do like, as you said, the decision there on Archie, as you say, no beads on the Achilles, looking for these vulnerable targets pre-level 12 when they have the second relic slot available to them, to try and look to force pressure in lanes and build as much as they can, and Archie's just doing what he needs to do.
Yeah. It's interesting though, as I said, the Ymir, I believe, opting to go Shell for his first relic. It's very... I don't know, I would like to see Archie come over to the duo and just get that Ymir out. Without the beads, maybe get a Foff and Fenrir rotation. Or maybe in the 3v3 in the middle, like this Ymir is going to be such an easy target to be picked up.
Yeah, I think Ymir has got a slight out in response if he's quick enough with the ultimate in response to a Fenrir ultimate, but it could be a very bad situation as well, though. All of a sudden, Ymir ults, he doesn't do enough damage with a quick timed ultimate if he bursts it early, just if he uses it to try and get the CC immunity. But it's definitely an option that he could look for to try and save himself, because no matter how tanky the Ymir does getting pulled out of position, he's just going to get burst out.
Yeah. I am favouring the 3v3 in mid here. The Rat Tosca Fenrir Foff here. It's a lot of CC. The Fenrir Rat ult is huge. It's a lot of easy confirm for the Foff ult. The 3v3 on the side of Hels is definitely lower, so I'd like to see them try and play towards the solo more or the duo and just try and not fight as much in the 3v3 in mid, because I do believe the Fenrir Rat Foff 3v3 is just going to be so much more. But we are seeing a gank from Disco Ferry on the Foff. Oh, nice ult from Ymir, and it does, and the ult comes out from them. Rat is going to ult out, and that's a lot of ults dropped. And is the Rat going back in? He's looking for it. No, he's come out. Okay. But that was a lot of ults dropped on just the Rat support. Oh, incoming the Apollo ult, and the Apollo does get to pick up the Rat who's just ulted out. Nice rotation from the Apollo there. But I almost think that's too much committed to just the Rat.
That was a nice juke on Max to dodge the Achilles ultimate there in the solo side. I thought he was about to die. Dead to rights, I thought, but just managing to get still going aggressive here though.
Yeah, that Osiris is going to have to back. He has gone for Bumba's not Bumba's hammer, obviously. Bumba's
spear.
No, he's gone Bumba's, the starter Bumba's.
Whatever it's called.
Whatever it's called. He's got the starter of Bumba's.
His dagger.
Bumba's
I've had it confirmed. It is dagger. It's trolling me.
No, you said spear. Okay, don't troll me like that.
Close and dagger, yes, of course. The starter one.
Yes. As a mid laner myself, these mid lane builds coming in are very weird to me. I mean, the Foff has gone towards a Karen's coin. Haven't seen that picked up for a while. And the Agni obviously going for that traditional currently meta Warlocks, but then opting to go into a Soul Gem, maybe wanting the lifesteal to keep him in the lane slightly more. But the carry's quite definitely eluding me.
Yeah, something we're not quite used to seeing. Something that was popular for a while, but has definitely fallen off a favour recently. I do agree. I think the Soul Gem's a great pickup. Agni's cooldowns are on pretty low, actually. You can rotate his abilities quite quickly to try and get those procs up as much as possible. Try and keep himself as well as the rest of his team around him as well in the fight for that little bit longer. The burst of healing can be massively impactful during a late team fight. And I just want to go back to your previous point here quick. And I do agree with you that the 3 ultimates that were expended for the rat might have been a bit excessive. And I'm not sure if Iron 4 was just on his way back from the base and wanted to ult back to try and match the pressure of a Jingwei passive, or if it was just a case of the core was that he had ulted into the jungle and they just wanted to try and pick him up.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. He hasn't even gone transcendent, so I wouldn't. Looking at him ulting out of base, I do believe that was just communication going on to him. They're just realizing the rat ult is down and he doesn't have a way out. Obviously, the Apollo ult will be there for confirm. But yeah, the Apollo has gone dominant into what it looks to be probably going into an Atalanta's bow, which is definitely unusual, whereas the Jingwei going for Ichabod, something I haven't seen in a good couple of months there.
Yeah, definitely not something we're used to seeing quite as much. The Atlantis, I would agree with, potentially wants that a bit of lifesteal in the build as well as the critical chance as well coming through. And it is incredibly impactful on the Apollo with the Audacity passive, allows him just to chain off those quick basic attacks to try and look to crit as much as possible. The stun comes through from Archbaker.
Yeah, I do believe that Fenrir might just be dead. Oh, the disco looked to disengage instead. I would have honestly gone on, just tried to kill the disco. We had the Achilles rotating in, was scared of the Osiris also rotating in, but the Fenrir does live to see another day. And Hels is asserting their dominance. That just slight 1k lead currently, in the Nem looking to fight as much as she can, especially earlier on. Even though not such an early pick.
No, I agree. Not quite having the early impact that you would expect to have a Fenrir. However, this Fenrir not quite doing as much as we would maybe want to see in the early game here. Nemesis has got the Stone cutting online as well. Golden Blade completed first. So has got a quick time clearing in the jungle, able to make quick rotations of her spawning camps and just look to try and apply pressure in one of these lanes. Maybe like to try and see her try and force some pressure over in the duo side, look to try and go for these Ola Gold Furies. They have got the burst with the Agni ultimate, as well as the Ymir ultimate can be used to help confirm these objectives. We just have to be wary of the FOF if they're wanting to play around these objectives.
Yeah, with that FOF, it's just a lot better secure. Although we are seeing the rat stun onto the Nem trying to secure the oracles, getting her about a quarter of her HP with the Jing. Although the blink from the rat looking at picking up Disco, nice stun from Ymir, and they actually managed to pick up Archie Baker there. Rat ult back in the air and leaves. That was a really nice counter engage from the Ymir Agni there, saving the Nemesis after the blink from the rat.
Yeah, that was beautifully done. That was blink not on the rat, but also not just on the rat, but also on the Fenrir as well. Straight into the Agni Noxious Fumes and one tick of the ultimate. There's fighting over on the right hand side here as well, but looking to disengage maybe. A lot of fighting going on. But yeah, beautiful save by the mid laner and the support to save Disco there. Keep him in the game and actually managed, like you say, to pick up Archie Baker, force the Ratatoskr ult to get himself out. There's another death on Archie here, something that I wouldn't have expected to have seen.
No, yeah, definitely seems to be falling behind the Nem in the jungle, and the Nem obviously asserting her dominance, showing off the reason why she is one of those meta picks right now, at least. Although after that kill, you would have thought they maybe looked for I would have been looking for a Pyromancer or trying to force a gold fight after they got the Ratatoskr dead. Obviously, maybe the FOF was too low for the fight, or didn't. But yeah, I would have loved to see just looking at trying to force a fight on an objective.
Yeah, you've took the enemy jungler out. It's a good chunk of the CC and displacement off of the table there for the side of Dave's, and definitely something they could have looked for there. Archie Baker, though, I didn't really get a chance to discuss it before we started to get into game, but I feel as though the Fenrir is definitely a bit of an iffy pick here. He's going to struggle in all of these lanes, I find, to find any easy ganks. He's got the Mesmerize on the Apollo, the Noxious Fume stun on the Agni, and then the stun from the Shield Bash here on the
Yeah,
Achilles. So apart from his ultimate, he's not got any good, real, confirmable way to stick to someone with the Brutalize. Only really looking for CC.
Oh, we are seeing the ult come off from Archie though. Although it looks like they're deciding to counter engage off the rat. The rat ult in air, and just the disengage it looks like off just a little trade. That was very yeah, the Fenrir not looking to be one of the best pickups on. I didn't realize how much of a bad game it could be for the Fenrir. So we shall see how the Hels minions look to abuse this fact.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Jotun's Transcendence completed, getting that stat. So trying to potentially look for more burst on the jump, less so than the burst from the Brutalize. Just not in a position where he can stick to someone. So wanting to just try and get as much out as possible, but still just provide good CC. Knowing Nemesis speeds were down, it was a good pull. But the war from the Ymir just split the team in half during that aggression, forcing them to have to try and back off and not be able to full commit to try and take Disco out there. It's very nicely done so far. I've seen some great plays from the Shamir going forwards.
No, yeah, I agree. This Ymir has been doing a lot of work for his team. What's very interesting though is the fact that the gold, the gold is negligible. It's a 4-1 lead towards Hels, but Dave's has been keeping up in gold, hasn't been falling behind at all. Hels hasn't been invading much of their buffs, so it just feels like these 4 kills almost are irrelevant.
Yeah, no, I agree. Even the experience lead here, strangely enough, actually, a couple hundred XP in it, swinging either way, but you are seeing there is a level, half a level in a couple of the lanes. I think solo is the main side where Mech actually, I believe, at the moment has got a level lead up on Job Fighter here. So apart from that, they are doing incredibly well. Dave's just farming the map. They haven't really lost, or even though Hell's minions seem to have this pressure, they just don't seem to be looking for any real engage or invades here on the side of Dave's.
No, yeah. I mean, we need to be seeing, well, especially with those 4 kills, the pressure that Hells have been asserting so far. They need to be getting on those objectives, getting on steals, stealing any amount of XP they can or gold, because otherwise, I honestly think Dave's has got this in the late game. Their team comp screams to me just a better late game team than Hells.
Yeah, I think if
and the Jingwei.
Yeah, I think if they can play the team fights and the engagements really well, then they could definitely look to run away with the late game. They have got the Ratatasker ultimate as well, which unfortunately not really seen any impact with. Actually being forced multiple occasions here to actually have to ult away as multiple people ganking mechs here.
Yeah, multiple people going on, but we do have a Fenrir coming in to try and support him. Lots of ultimates dropped down. Them sticking to that Cyrus. Cyrus ult out. Fenrir jumping out, and I believe that's just another disengage. No one picked up on the side of Hells, and that's just a lot of XP and gold just missed because there's no kill. Although they have forced 2 people back, so I'd be looking at a Pyromancer here.
Yeah, ultimate forced on mechs as well as ultimate drop there on Nemesis here. So just looking to try and burst his virus, but still, even with the items now finally finishing his Berserker's shield here, physical damage just not enough coming through, not quite able to burst him down. Kensi's completed on the Nemesis, so would expect it to start to chunk incredibly hard against these tankier targets as the Pyro is started.
Yeah, the Pyro has been, and has finished by Dave's. Not even a reaction from Hells. We really need to see some more wards on the map. I don't think I see any on the right side for Hells. So that's just a free Pyro for the side of Dave's, and that is giving them about a 700 gold lead currently.
Yeah, looking at the, obviously, like I say, it's only a 4-1 kill score to the side of Hell's minions here, but they seem to have a lot of the pressure around the mid lane. But it's actually Dave's to drop the first objective on the map here, sneaking away a free Pyromancer. It's only a negligible lead, but it is showing that their farming is incredibly high, highly skilled, and they are actually able to keep even and actually build a lead here off of even the smallest little bits. They're just taking what they can, not trying to force too much, and even with these bad kind of situations where they're being forced to disengage, are still getting small wins here and there.
True. It was a nice wall from the Ymir, keeping the rat out and just securing the oracles, I believe, on the side of Hells. But that's a 4 people versus 3 here in mid, though. They could look to engage Daves, and maybe yeah, they could look to engage and pick up either one of the kills here.
Yeah, four-man group tier. Gold Fury is still available, but with everyone up as well as all 10 ultimates on the board for everyone here. Everyone is still standing, so no one's into quite commit to it. And I think Hell's Minions have got to be more careful than Dave's here. Having the fact that they have got Ptolemy here on this stuff with the ultimate to come through could quite easily steal a gold or potentially even a fire giant if Hells aren't careful when they try to look to go for the objectives and aren't positioning well enough to try and zone out Ptolemy here.
Yeah, I agree. We haven't even seen much of it. I mean, bar the first ult from the Apollo, we haven't really seen him ult and come across and just help out or like do more of what Apollo usually does, which is just come over, be there before the enemy ADC, and it's just been farming, getting that slight lead on the Jin, got the kill obviously. I would like to see him put more of a earlier stance in here. Obviously, he's got. Well, I guess he doesn't have any. He went for the dominance first item, meaning he should be able to show up and do at least something to some of these tanks.
Yeah, he should be able to hit these tanks pretty hard. Has 2 crit items online now as well. Wind Demon and the Atlantis completed. Looking to, I would assume, to build a Kins. He only 1 crit item finished on the Jingwei, so she won't be hitting quite as hard. But has the boxing potential with the Archival here. But just wanted to say, if I was ever unsure if maybe the buffs to Glad Shield were a bit too much, we have 3 Glad Shields completed for the side of Dave's here.
I mean, Glad Shield, great item right now. I don't know. Changed the what was it? They changed the passive so that it works at 100% HP. Saying that though, we have got Fenrir ganking the Achilles and brutalized, but the Nems decided to come and counter gank the Achilles ult onto the Osiris, drops him, and now Archie Baker just getting absolutely shredded by the Nem, the Achilles. And now we're obviously Pyromancer's down, so they don't even get any objectives off this, and Hell's minions retaliate with a Gold Fury of their own. Jingwei looking Foth coming round. I think they might just have to drop this.
Yeah, I don't think they're in a position where they can fully commit to it. They haven't got, like I say, the secure there. There was actually Ratatasker ultimate used there. I think there might have been a call from the side of Dave to look to engage, but as soon as Hell's minions dropped it, disengage, but they are going back on this Gold Fury.
The Ymir wall, just keeping them out, just getting to about half. We're looking at the Rat coming in, maybe trying to steal. The freeze is down. No, the Gold Fury does go into the side of Hell's. Well picked up. But a trade for 2 kills.
I know, it's 2 kills to the side of Hell's minions. Yes.
I'm an idiot.
Yes, and seeing as though I think, like I say, Dave's maybe tried to call, pretty slightly off the mark there on Ymir, unfortunately, not quite able to catch Mino out.
Yeah, slightly. But yeah, I mean, 2 kills and a Gold Fury in the side of Hell's. Gold lead up to 1,500 diff, and the XP as well up 2,000, and it's going to be very big coming in forwards for the, obviously with the Pyromancer coming back up. And again, with Hell's having the lead again, they need to be asserting their dominance on these camps and just stealing as much as they can.
Yeah, they definitely need to be. It's now Hell's minion in a more dominant driving position. Only 1,300 gold about those things at the moment. So even off this Gold Fury as well as the 2 kills that they just picked up, not in the biggest lead possible here. Mech's actually still somehow managing to keep even or actually a level lead, but 3 levels down in the jungle here is Archie Baker. So it's definitely not a position you want to be in on such an early centric jungler like the Fenrir. Just not quite able to have the impact as we've and would have wanted, as we've already discussed.
We are seeing Fenrir ganking the Achilles again, no beads available, but I just, oh no, the Nem, sorry, awful right now, but the Nem is going down. Or is she? Brat's coming in to secure, the Fenrir jump, and the Rat ult does confirm, but the Fenrir manages to dodge the Achilles ult, but the Achilles is short and goes down to 4 people.
Yeah, beautiful rotation there, ultimate comes through there from Ptolemy on this stuff. Mech's finally able to drop him down. Mid laner and support come over, and in comes the ADC. Apollo is in the sky, but a lot of mana expended there coming over. Decides to call for a disengage, not wanting to risk it. Pyromancer is started though.
Pyromancer is started by the, yes, again, Pyromancer started by Hels. Drop, no, there are 2 people down on Hels, they're very risky. Dave's obviously coming in with the steal, and they should be looking at running towards this, just absolutely chasing them down. And we are seeing the Osiris ult coming out. If good Mezen beats from Apollo, getting himself out. Sprint from the Ymir, but I do think the Ymir will fall, but saving his teammates is just about. Oh no, Fenrir ult coming out. Beads and Aegis from the Ymir and Agni, and they do pick him up. but there are no objectives again for Daves, so there is just nothing they can really do. Get as much, they can get as much farm on the enemy side as they can, but no objectives, so they will be running down mid, trying to get both towers.
Yeah, no true neutral objectives available, as you say. Towers are dropping though very quickly. Actually, the Jingwei, especially firing through the Thoth wall, was able to shred these towers down. Jingwei, definitely one of the hunters that maybe doesn't quite get the credit for being someone that's able to strip through towers, but definitely is able to get the job done. And off of a brilliant Pyromancer steal as well here, 3,000 gold now swings into the favor of Daves. They've been able to match the farm of Hell's minions really nicely in the early game. It was an unfortunate situation where I think the call was to disengage from Hell's minions. They started to lose the fight there after the cheeky invade on the blue, coming out from Disco, and off the back of that ended up dropping Boo's 4 kills.
Yeah,
Lost the Pyromancer, and it was just a really bad situation for them.
It was a very questionable call to start the Pyromancer there, especially when they knew 3 or 4 of Dave's team were up, and they were just able to steal it and run them down straight down back to their base and picking up 2 or 3 kills. So I honestly, Dave's great fight from them, and now you want to see them warding up the Fire Giant side and trying to get an early Fire Giant to end this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, they definitely want to be looking to try and get vision around this right-hand side, look for this Fire Giant here. But I do like the call, though, as well. I kind of do agree with Hell's minions to a point. Ptolemy's ultimate at the time was down, so they knew that they didn't have the, the best type kind of way to secure the Pyromancer there. But I'm not sure what managed to grab it. But it was still a very nicely done play by Davis. Hell's minions not really trying to zone them out as much as they should have done. And just a lot of time just to kind of sit and take the damage from the Pyro and allow them to re-engage.
Yes, yeah, this is true. Coming back onto the builds though, we've obviously got a level 20 Osiris coming in when Bumba's Hammer finally has got himself a Glad Shield, which we've already talked about being a very good item currently, and going for the Berserkers as well. That is a build I haven't seen since Season 4.
Yeah, I agree. He wants to hit as hard as he can with those autos, with the Golden Blade passive, with the Berserker Shield, and the Bumba's Hammer is just nice. Extra bit of damage, it gives him those extra cooldown reductions on his abilities, wanting to get them off as much as possible. The CC with the Tethers, the Sickle, the One, giving that slow as well, just helping him to stick to his opponent as much as possible. I like the Spirit Robe as well, there's a lot of CC coming out from Hell's minions, so it just allows him that extra bit of protection.
We are seeing Gold Fury started by Dave. Obviously no one coming over from Hell's. That's just going to be even more gold. Really nicely done. Even more gold for Dave's, pushing that lead more towards them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm seeing a lot of boards in the inventories here from the side of Hell's minions, but just not as much as I would like to see on the map. Dave seemed to be controlling a pretty good line of vision, running straight through the center of the map. A couple wards over on the left-hand side, but majoritively, as already said, around this Fire Giant side on the right-hand side, definitely wanting to try and look to set up for it. If able to sneak one away, could blow the doors wide open for this, and Daves could probably look to run away with this game, seeing as there are over 4,000 gold lead at this current moment.
Yes, they could be running away with this greatly. Looking at the player damage, Bob's doing a lot compared to the Agni. That's this side of 3k, but we have started a fight, and Agni bombs dropping low. And Disco, Osiris picking up Disco Fairy. We've got Agni killing Osiris there and getting the return kill. You can see what that is, but in the backs we've got a kill on the Achilles by 4 of the people, splitting them up very well, and Jing and Thoth getting off very low HP. With the Apollo ult coming in, he should just be a dead man as soon as he lands. We are seeing the Agni bombs coming in though, picking up some of the lower people, and the Brutalize onto the Agni, but I believe this Agni is going to fall to the Fenrir and the Rat. Oh no, good dash from the Agni. Good juke, but I believe that's going to... Oh, nice freeze, but I believe, yeah, there's nothing that this poor Ymir can do, and that should be a Fire Giant in the way of Dave's.
Yeah, but enough vision. Actually decided to, for some reason, to leave this third ward down on the side of Dave. Beautiful fight there. I like the instant beat and Aegis on the side of Ptolemy, not wanting to get knocked up, and was actually just held on that little bit longer there against the ultimate coming through from the Apollo. I think the Apollo's target should have potentially been the Jingwei there. Jingwei being an ADC with this Deathbringer online now as well, with the lifesteal, with the crit. As you can see here, managed to just build the HP back up that quick with the RC passive here. I think if he was able to take her out instead of looking to try and go on the Thoth, would have had a massive impact and potentially would have led to them maybe winning the fight overall instead of actually being the ones to fall down.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously Jingwei putting a lot of damage out now with the Deathbringer, and not actually still hasn't upgraded. Putting out a lot of damage in that fight. So going on the FOF was definitely, I believe, a misplay. But when you're in the air, and I don't know, I feel like Apollo needed to just not go in. Maybe they needed that pick, at least one kill to try and stop them doing FG. But I feel like the Apollo was if a bit too late to do it.
Yeah, I think it's just my thought is the Jingwei and ADC with which is pretty much I would say is a full build minus the Star Triton complete here. With the crit online, it's going to just put in more work than the Thoth. I think the Jingwei falling would have not led to Daves being able to pick up that Fire Giant off the back of that fight. But I think especially if you're running out of mana or it is just a split call of which one do we go for, it is unfortunate as the tier 1 and now the tier 2 are dropping here in the duo side. Daves have managed to just gain complete control of this game and are running away with it.
No, this is true. We're seeing a trebuchet come down, and I don't think there is any way that. Well, I don't think they have any way of successfully defending this siege, but they could prove me wrong here. Ratatoskor coming up for a Nem out of position over there in mid lane, and nice knock up, but I think this Nem is just dead. Does a Nem ult come out? Nem shield, but that's a free hit on the side of James, chasing out Disco, and Disco incredibly out of position.
Yeah, just caught out there, like you say, Mino managing to spot him out there, committed to the ultimate straight down on him. I did like it there by Disco, though, willing just to commit the ult, gets the extra protections away with the ultimate, as well as the Arendite passive there just to try and fight. I don't think he potentially expected just so much damage to come through there from the two members, and then again, finally Archie rotating over just to put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, and now in a 4v5 sat in mid, this should be a dead Phoenix. Fenrir ult coming out, trying nice dodge to the Achilles, nice ult to stop the Fenrir ult. Freezes off Fenrir and gets the Fenrir lead. FOF is poking down the Ymir here, and a lot of damage coming in from the back lane on the Achilles, but he is 1v4 currently, 1v5, sorry, and there's the Apollo ult into the air, going in again on his own, but managing to get everyone back off. So, and there is a trebuchet in mid, so maybe they have successfully defended as Daves is running away with their tail between their legs.
It is a shame that Phoenix does fall down for Hels minions there, but are able to defend the rest of their base, manage to poke out the members of Daves enough to where there wasn't a chance to look to siege either of the other two out of Phoenix. There's actually the tier 2 still standing in solo lanes. I just look here. I noticed so they haven't quite taken all the objectives, all the towers on the map yet, but I would imagine that tier 2 in solo side potentially could be the next target here for the side of Daves. Their Fire Giant buff, however, shouldn't have too much longer on it, but still, as they did a pretty good job to be able to defend that as an only 4 years like Daves.
Honestly, didn't even see the fact that the Phoenix died, so.
Yeah, they took the Phoenix.
But the Apollo is out of position. I do not believe he has ult yet, so this could just be a dead Apollo if they decide to go on him. But no, it looks like the 4 people on the left side are just going to back off and reset and buy and finish off their builds. Kin's picked up finally for Jingwei, selling the starter instead of upgrading it, which is an interesting take on the ADC build.
I think a lot of the starter items for the Hunters, I still feel as though Gilded Arrow is still a pretty strong upgraded starter item, as well as the Leather Cowl upgrades and the Death Style upgrades, as Jingwei just had. But I feel as though potentially in this situation with how tanky stuff like the Achilles are here and the Ymir, just opting to go into that Kin's passive is probably going to be a lot more.
We are got a Nemo coming down onto the Osiris, and they do look to be picking up getting Rat really low, Rat dashing out. I think that's a med. But Fenrir ult come out onto Achilles. Achilles drops very low, and dead, but the Apollo ult was just coming in too late again, mezzing and running away. This Apollo seems to always be just that little bit too late. The Ymir obviously being picked up by the 5 people, slightly out of position, maybe trying to save his Apollo. But yes, again, I feel like this Apollo is always just that little bit too late to the team fight. But Fire Giant will be picked up by Dave's again, and that probably will solidify the end of the game.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely very ballsy from Iron 4 here, looking to ult into multiple members here. On the side of Dave's, definitely pushing his luck maybe a little bit too far. Force, I do agree. I think forced the Ymir into a position where he had to try and look to save his ADC. Was successful in doing so, but lost his own life, and now does force his team into this 3v5 situation. Fire Giant round the belt of Dave's here. With only an 8-13 score, is seems like a lot of fighting has been going off for the small amounts of kills that we've had here, as they're looking for the completionist run here, looking to drop this final Phoenix. The Phoenix is providing so much HP for the Titans at the most recent patches coming through that you kind of feel like you have to duck to take them out before you can do a full commit and siege to the Titan.
It's not even that though. I don't believe that they could have gone for Titan. 3 people up. It's very risky to go in with 3 people up and people coming in about 10 seconds. But they will. I would honestly be wanting to wait for these Fire Giant waves to come in and then just start poking at the Titan as the Fire Giant waves get in. It's the safest way to siege the Titan, or just try and maybe get a pick here and there, or just do as much damage as they can.
Yeah, as you can see, 5-man grouping around this middle Phoenix here, waiting for it to respawn, wanting to drop it down as soon as possible, just slowly trying to poke out before fully committing here.
General fully committing onto the Ymir as Achilles behind. They are doing a lot of damage though. Ratatosk roll into the sky, back onto the Achilles. Achilles dropping quite low. We are seeing a lot of damage coming down on them as well in their back, but again, that's just a pick off by Dave's onto Hels. And it's just going to be a 4v5 in mid now. They are quite low though, so it's not all dead for Hels. As Dave's retreat and leave, maybe backing and resetting.
Yeah, definitely wanting to look to reset there. Hell's Minion is still doing a pretty, I would say, decent job there trying to defend. The Phoenix did unfortunately fall back down in the mid lane, but with these Fire Giant buffs here, just the health regen coming through, just able to keep them healthy. And as you can see here, the health
They are going back in onto the Apollo with a dash missed by Boff. Achilles going in on him alone, but probably will pull the Rat and the Boff ult coming through. Achilles just about getting in, but Apollo dying to the Boff at the same time. This will probably be a full commit onto Titan here. Jinwei holding out and getting away. Titan going down to about half HP. Ymir ult coming out, and a big ult from Achilles ending the game. And that is a win for Dave's.
Yeah, beautifully done there. It looked like they could have maybe looked to defend that. They forced the Jingwei out with the ultimate. Mex and Minokino did fall down there, so it was a 3 versus 4 in the end. IM4 did fall down eventually as well, but just nicely done there. It was risky though, as we said, they 3 Phoenixes down. They had minion waves pushing in. They looked to fully commit to that one. And it was a close fight, I feel, in the end, closer than it seemed. And I think if it wasn't quite for the 3 Phoenixes being down, there's a good chance there that Dave's actually lost that Titan siege. So I agree, and I think it was definitely worth the patience there, dropping the mid Phoenix before it came back up, waiting, taking all 3, and just biding their time, allowing them to have the best position possible to go in.
Yes, and this Jingwei being a big asset towards the Dave side towards the end of the game, obviously showing that she's still a relevant pick in the meta. 5-0 on the Jingwei, not dying once, dealing top damage 27,000 on the Jing by the end of that game, compared to the Apollo ADC, who I feel like was always just a little bit too late, maybe costing them the game, going 1-2 by the end, maybe coming in a little bit too late and not making those rotations needed.
Yeah, 10,008 damage exact, funnily enough, behind the damage on the Jingwei here. 17,000 to the 27,000 on the Jing. Jing actually just barely able to sneak past 1,020 damage, snuck past Ptolemy here on the Thoth. And as you can see, I feel as though one massive thing, as I had mentioned, is this side of Hell's Minions seem to have a lot of wards in the inventory, but never seem to have that many on the map. And the wards place definitely shows that. 14 on Archie, the lowest wards in
Yeah.
comparison to AT on Disco. So the junglers not having the most wards, but definitely just showing the difference in um, vision that these teams are definitely looking for.
No, yes. What would you like to see that Hels maybe try and clinch the game back for game two? What would you like to see different on game two
Well,
from Hels?
this game in the early game, they said they had a couple of hundred. I think they did build about a 5,000, 1,500 gold lead, and they just didn't do enough with it. They never really looked to invade. They just allowed the side of Dave's to farm pretty freely in their own jungle. Didn't apply enough pressure, and I think that's just what led to Dave's able to claw a lead back, bring it back to
Yeah.
even. And then all of a sudden, these fights where they had a lead, I think maybe they felt a little bit too confident in certain situations where they maybe felt like they were further ahead than they were. So I think they just definitely need to be careful of what they're playing with. I think they definitely need to look to maybe take away the Jingwei going into the second game. I don't think they can leave that on the table. And definitely maybe to look, I just don't feel they played around the global rotations from the Apollo enough. But at the same time, the Janeway passive kind of helps to relieve some of that pressure. But I just definitely think they need to try and play for the team's strengths and the gods they've drafted
No,
and just
yes.
provide a bit more.
I completely agree. I mean, it was Hal's minion team that picked up the double kill at the start of the game on Archie Baker and Platonomy, and they just didn't do enough with that starting 2 kill buffer to just go and invade and start and try and run the game from there. But I guess these days in this update, 2 kills aren't enough to get you ahead in the early game.
Yeah, no, I agree fully there. But beautifully well done there for the side of Days versus Home Minions. Game one of this best of three for the mid-seasons finals. I'm going to throw it over to a quick break as we get ready for game two. Everyone stick around and we'll see you shortly.
Bye.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you play for reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep
I just wonder why I'm buried in a suit I'd never buy, a suit I'd never buy. Cufflinks on my wrist, I can't act surprised when the shovels hit dirt in the
Welcome back, Smite fans, to the picks and bans for Game 2 of Hell's Minion versus Dave's. Dave's took Game 1 here, and immediately into the picks and bans, no delay. Ratatoska banned from Hell's Minions, and the Osiris, so two selected targeted bans already taken away from Hell's Minions, Carly and the King Arthur so far. Two regular bans. The bans that were taken away from Dave's last time. So what do you think, Bank? Do you think these are respected bans, definitely not looking for meta, but looking to take targeted picks?
It's definitely respect bans, but I mean, if you're Dave's, you're not one god deep. Like, you know, you can't target ban someone and be like, oh, that's their only god they can play. I mean, these guys are good at the game. I mean, they're gonna have multiple good picks, and by banning out just the Rat and the Osiris because of the way they played in last game, you're foregoing banning some of the more meta picks like Bakasura, Jingwei, Baron, Yamoja. All of those gods that usually get banned are free reign for this game now.
Yeah, exactly. And we just update from production real quick that someone picked a banned god. We're getting trolled by the teams as to be expected. But I do. Oh,
wouldn't be GSL without production issues.
Oh god, yeah, no, I agree. Upper division, what a nightmare, man. But no, I agree. I mean, I think gods like the Osiris are definitely pretty strong at the moment, anyway. So I can understand like banning away someone that isn't top tier, but is still pretty strong in the current situation of the game state. But stuff like the Ratatoska, where it wasn't even played in its definitive main role, it was actually flexed into the support role, is definitely a respected ban. But I don't think I agree. There's not a chance that they definitely were going to run it back, and the fact that they've now banned it out here just goes that they may be giving too much priority to these very specific flexed picks.
True. And obviously Dave's here, going back to they played everything, they played fine, they got the win, so they're just going back to what they did before, banning out the Kali, banning out the KA. So no respect on Hels. It's all over to Hels. Dave's that they deserve to be in this final.
Yeah, and Hell's finally here. We finally fixed what's gone off here. Banning out sorry, not the emoji. Emoji pick for Hell's Minion. Banning out the Baron here. Jingwei taken off the table by Dave's this time. Actually, I think with that strong showing Game 1, not wanting to risk Hell's Minions picking it up. First pick here. Gilgamesh, a god that I didn't think was that strong recently, actually, with, you know, rounds and rounds and multiple nerfs to the God's Kit and nerfed again recently. Actually, would not have expected to have seen that.
I disagree, to be honest, with the comeback of Glad Shield and how decent Kins is in the current meta. I do think Gilgamesh Jungle might be making a comeback with the Berserker Shield and with the, I mean, Kin size again, or Glad Shield being even picked up on Gil. That would be interesting. They are seeing Ult and Cabran here as well, which is a very nasty duo lane on the side of Dave's to be fighting in if you're this Yamoja Chernobog.
Yeah, very strong, very something to be worried about. I guess the tremors can make it a bit awkward for Ola to try and his axe stun combos, but definitely I think for an experienced player shouldn't be a problem. Cabrakan was banned on the second round side of Hell's Minion, so Dave's potentially maybe thinking it's going to get banned out again here, so wanting to take it in this earlier set of the draft before it gets taken off the table. Thoth as well, though, taken off again, similar to Osiris, an incredibly strong ban, but expected to have been seen. And I was going to mention as well, Cabrakan, I'm going to assume this is potentially in the solo lane, maybe, for this Cabrakan. I wouldn't expect to see it in the jungle, but it could be there, as Tiamat is hovered and Nijar is locked in for the side of Hell's Minions.
Dave's loves their, like, just these weird comps that can be played anywhere. You don't know what you're expecting in your lane. This Cabrakan could be jungle, he could be support, he could be solo. And that Artio is not helping at all. I mean,
yeah, no,
where are these people going?
Is this going to be Ulla in the mid lane, maybe? That's an Artio locked in for Dave's. That is a warrior, 3 Guardians, and an ADC.
So
I'm
that
going
has
to
to be
assume
Ola ADC.
that's got. Yeah, who goes to the mid lane though?
I'm so confused.
RTO maybe? Surely
am-
not.
Honestly confused.
Oh, wait, no,
there
we're
we
being
go.
nope. Sorry, we're being trolled by our observer.
There we go. So that'll be Ola
Oh,
in the
for
mid lane
God's
and
sake.
Artemis.
Not RTO.
Artemis.
Oh god.
I was so confused for a second.
As was
Artemis
I.
going in to the ADC with the Athena. I mean, that Ola Athena in the mid lane when the rotates is going to be absolutely nightmare. Athena herself being very good at getting over, rotating, and with the enemy picking Chernobog, kind of cancelling out the Chernobog ult, Athena always being able to be wherever the Chernobog is.
No, I agree. The Athena is something that we did discuss in the last game, actually, during the picks and bans. So it is nice to see that we were right to a certain degree that it would potentially get seen here. Artemis should be devastating though in these team fights. If beads are down, Tusky can just rip through and CC a massive amount of the team. Especially if Tusky's able to get into the backline, Artemis with full crit online is able to just strip through the squishes. I'm still not 100% sure though who's going to be in the solo and who's going to be in the jungle. With this Athena picked up, it's definitely going to have to be one of either the Kabrakan or the Gilgamesh. And I feel as though the Gilga should work better, I think, in the jungle. However, he does have a pretty good time, I feel, into the Achilles as well. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to be seeing here.
I'm not sure either. Kabrakan Jungle has been seen a couple of times by my man Cherio back in the day, but you know, Cherio's been dead a very long time.
Feels bad, man.
Feels bad. But yes, I'd be happy with either of them, and it's just throwing Hels off. I mean, you don't know what you're building, because you can't really go into your solo lane if you're Hels and just build, like, tier 1 physical defense, because what if Kabrakan shows up? And then you're like, well, now I've got to go and build magical defense.
Yeah, you're stuck on a tier 1 item that's technically putting you, like, multiple hundred golds behind, where Kabrakan kind of could expect, he knows what he's going into. There's no way we're seeing anything weird flexing into the solo side here. It's definitely going to be this Achilles. Wouldn't expect to see Emoja over in the solo lane. Achilles support does kind of work, but
I do like Hels. I kind of like Hels. I would have preferred. I mean, Tiamat's good for early pushes. She's good. She does a lot of damage late game. I've never been good at Tiamat. I cannot play Tiamat. But
yeah, me neither.
with this Naja setup, you would have thought you would get something like Poseidon, some big circle ult that can just be dropped as soon as they come out of the air by the Naja.
Yeah, you would want some sort of follow-up on the CC. It does kind of work with the emoji to a degree. The Tornado on the Tiamat does kind of have a bit of synergy with that there. But yeah, there's not the follow-up that you would want. Tiamat stun off the back of a Nijar ult into maybe a fully charged Tiamat one in the air stance. But apart from that, I agree. I'm not seeing quite the synergy that I think maybe the side of Hell's minions are seeing themselves. Maybe they've got something spicy up their sleeves that we quite haven't figured out yet.
Maybe this is true, and obviously the global rotation's always said and being cancelled out by the Athena's ult. So it's going to be hard for Churn to go anywhere without Athena just showing up and following, unless obviously there are more people from Hell's minions over there. But again, this Achilles, I mean, fell behind slightly on Osiris towards the end of the game. So, and he again doesn't know what he's fighting in solo. So it will be interesting to see if he favors this Achilles pick again, how he plays up against a different solo laner.
Yeah, I agree. I think the more I actually look at the matchups here, this solo side, actually just talking about it, I think there's a good chance it's the Gilgamesh into the solo. I think the Kabrakan's actually going to struggle clearing against an Achilles, seeing as though the Tremors are his primary clear source. Achilles can stun him out of that with the shield bash, so I think there may have been a call for the Kabrakan either directly to say we're taking it into the jungle, or maybe look to flex it to see what happens. But I definitely think that Gilga is definitely the better option into the Achilles here. Can build the Golden Blade as well, I feel. It is a basic attack based warrior. The abilities do definitely hit hard, but having the mini-kins built into the Burning Scimitar as well, I feel as though the Gilga is probably what we're going to see.
Yeah, never seen a Golden Blade Gilgamesh, but maybe
it's always an option.
Always an option. Maybe we'll see it for once. The Artemis, though, very, very squishy. Not very safe. So I'm gonna want to see a lot of protection towards this Artemis as I want her to just be doing all of her damage. But we're free with 2 Guardians. on this side of Dave's, I want to see a lot of protection towards this Artemis and just keeping her safe and doing damage to the enemy.
Yeah, that is the current situation for the side of Dave's, is protect the ADCs, I guess. If this Solar or Artemis either in a position where they fall behind and just aren't able to deal the damage that they need for the team, or just aren't able to be protected enough, I feel as though this could fall down the drain very quickly for the side of Dave's. But Hell's Minions, I feel, apart from this Achilles, Tiamat as well as this Nijar that we haven't really spoken too much about here, definitely have good strong dive potential. If Nijar is able to get into the backline and pick out one of the ADCs, that is a good chunk of Dave's damage taken away for a good duration.
Sure, I just don't feel like Najar has the Sash ult combo. A little bit more damage needs to be done. I mean, a late game, Artemis probably dies to one shot on the Najar ult, but it's just going to be a case of, I mean, if she gets sashed, Najar gets tuskied, and I don't see a way. It's going to be Tusky or Beads. I guess that strips the Tusky, but late game, if a Najar gets tuskied,
Nijar's probably dead.
Night
Nijar's dead
with
on pack.
Najar.
Yeah, Nijar's dead on crashback. It's you're getting stunned, you're dead. Tusky into a fully built Artemis with Deathbringer, with stuff like Wind Demon Atlantis online, and the Kins as well, I would probably expect to see, is going to hurt a lot. I would expect Ptolemy here on the Artemis to probably look to go a similar build that he did last game. I don't expect to see something like the Archival into the Assy, giving him the boxing potential, giving him the early pen as well as the big chunk of lifesteal, and allowing him to try and look to fight the Chernobog.
Sure, yes. That'll be, I don't know, because Chernobog will just, the Chernobog's got a lot better clear than the Artemis, and kind of clear, leave, go get all the camps, and especially early game, just hold, just leave, and then come back. And the Artemis, I don't feel like, I mean, the Jingwei had the ability to follow with the Apollo, and just always somewhat not be too far behind. But the Artemis is going to struggle to keep up with the rotations, and I'm kind of hoping we see more from IM4 and some earlier rotations into these team fights.
Yeah, that's for sure. As well, I would like to see as much pressure vision kept on the side of Duo by this Chernobog as well. If he's in a position where he's cleared first and he can look to back, and Artemis he knows is in a bad position, I want to see him look for these aggressive ultimates on the Artemis if he has no ultimate, and if he knows he's in a position to kill it, or even look to go over to the solo or mid lane and just try and work as much pressure on the map as possible for his team and really look to help them out here. The showing in last game on the Apollo, I don't think he took quite the advantage of the global rotations that he needed. It was a great call when he ulted in, was able to pick up the Ratatuska, but apart from that, I just felt his ultimates were, as you said, were always a little bit late. They were just a bit too slow, a bit off the mark, and just never really seemed to have the impact that I think he wanted to have.
Yeah. So again, picking up this Chernobog, hopefully he's going to do more on the Chern than Apollo, really showing us the power of this Chernobog pick. One of the better ADCs, I'd say, in the meta currently.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely strong.
But we shall probably go for a quick break while we wait for the game to start, and then we'll see you guys in
I'm stuck inside of these walls within. I don't recognize who I've turned
conquered the best of me, could have just set me free. Games that you play are just sickening. Now I'm beside myself, don't want your fucking help. Let me just go, let me just go. And don't you lie to me and say it's all okay when it feels like I'm drowning. Oh, I hate to say goodbye, but it's time to go. All I need is someone else.
And welcome back as we are getting into game 2 here, the best of 3 for the mid-season finals, Dave versus Hell Minions. Sorry for the delay there, guys, just a little bit of a... technically, actually, this is a problem on the player's side here, not on the production side for once. Printer's doing his best here. As we're a tad late into game as there's aggression over in the left-hand side. Beads forced here early on the Artemis on the side of Hell's Minions.
That is a Gilgamesh ADC.
Support.
Gilgamesh support. I'm an idiot.
Athena solo.
Athena
Not what I
solo
expected.
Gil support. Definitely not what I expected. Maybe the Gil not wanting to fight against the Achilles and you Gil more just a CC tool, and obviously the ult from Gil is very zoning and keeping someone stuck inside of it. So be interesting to see. This man obviously not like
Link forward here from Archie straight into the Tremors. Does get stunned out of them by the artillery slash and forced to back away. A lot of aggression in all lanes here. As Max here on the Athena, as strong as I found the Athena is in the solo side, is slowly being pressured out here by the Achilles, just so aggressive here. The Bluestone keeping ticking on the rotations of the abilities.
Yeah, you would obviously expect to see the poke out from the Achilles, but the Athena, if she can get to the late game, that's a Bumba's Hammer. Bumba's Hammer Athena is going to be big for the late game team fights on Dave's side. We've also got Bumba's Hammer probably going to come out on the Bracken, and the ADCs. Looks like IM4 has picked up a lesson from Cordiac 6, however you say that man's name.
However.
Picked up a lesson, and they've both gone the same build this time.
Yep, both going this Death Toll into the short bow here. Fighting, forced to dash away his IM4, but no real aggression following up. The arrows come down. Jump forward from Gilgamesh. I don't think he can do the drop kick just yet. He's just trying his best. Stunned slightly off the mark here on Yemoja, but not enough damage coming through, so are able to disengage safely here. But as you were going back to, I agree, both these ADCs going for the same starting build here, maybe looking to go for the Archival. Having the Archival over your opponent in the ADC lane just allows such a power and attack speed swing that it just allows for such easier boxing, and is really difficult if you don't have it in response.
I just feel like the ADCs just, I mean, at least when I'm playing, you just kind of leave. He just like, I'm here to clear my wave, they're there to clear their wave. So I have always thought that a Kaival is just a waste of them. Because if I see an ADC with a fat Kaival, I will just choose to never ever fight them.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it forces you to have to play really safe. It means you can't look to try and go for the early fight. I liked Mino Kino there going for the cheeky invade. Unfortunately wasn't able to try and steal it away. But did force a rotation from Disco on the Nijar, so it forced a response from the jungler, giving potentially more pressure over in towards the mid side. And teleport on both of the solo lanes here, actually, as we do jump over. Max forced with a wave back under his tower yet again, just trying to hold it as best he can here. Archie is rotating over, maybe looking to try and go for fight here. Has the blink. Does blink forward. Oh, the ultimate just slightly off the mark. Job fighter just barely able to get out of that with the ultimate.
It was it was a nice attempt from Archie Baker there. Just slightly mistimed. We are seeing Disco though as we pan away.
I am for nearly getting aggressed on, but Mino does get stunned out here as well. By the emoji doing pretty well, as now it's Disco's turn to look to try and gain.
Archie's not too far behind. That is a ult from the Naja though.
I won't do it. You just
Picked up
Job fighter does manage to pick up first blood here onto the Max, onto Max. No beads obviously on the Athena, as now it's Ptolemy. Time to rotate over. The blades does hit, as well as the hail of arrows. Pick up a kill in response. Disco low here, half health, low on mana, has to back away. Can't look to try and fight any longer in that 3 versus 1 situation. Archie out of mana though over that right hand side will help for the blue buff. For his solo lane, no beads on the Athena there, so was a good call there to go and look to commit for it and go over to take down the Athena, just barely able to pick them up off the back of the ultimate from Disco.
Yeah. It was a nice try, nice disengage. Unfortunately, obviously, Cabrakan getting picked up. Was it Cabrakan that got picked up? No, it was not.
Athena got ulted into the air by Disco. Disco is very low here, trying to take his own speed up here on the back. That's just his health bar.
We need to let him die. Die, Disco. We need to clip it.
Disco can't die to his speed buff on finals mid-season. That would be awkward when he's 1 game down against Team Dave. Hels minions had a great game 1 in the early, but just unfortunately did fall behind, as we are seeing here in game 1. Pretty even so far. Hels minions a couple of goal lead here, as Daves are looking to get cheeky here, looking to try and invade and steal away the purple buff.
That Gil's just gonna try. Oh, we are seeing a 4-man rotation for this Gil though, so I think this Gil actually is just dead.
That was unnecessarily aggressive from Mino Kino. Gets sashed straight up into the air, gets picked up by the... I can't even tell who picked him up. It was Chonabog. It was Iron 4 that was able to pick him up. Ulting in actually is Iron 4 straight into the back, looking for the Artemis here, and now it's Artemis forced off of her own purple, not able to go forward.
Nice.
I like the commit in the use here. Tusky will go through, apparently. Actually, that was an interaction that I was not aware of. However, isn't able to secure his own purple buff, does lose it in Jacob Fighter. Ganked again on the right hand side. Max with the basic and the reach is able to pick up Job Fighter there on the right hand side. So kill for kill on either side. What I'd just like to say is I like the aggression. I like the aggression from Mino, but maybe a little bit too overzealous, looking to try and steal away this purple. And the side of Hell's minions calling and reacting to it as well as they should have done, and committing everyone over. They take the kill. Didn't lose the purple, so nicely well done.
If you want to invade that early as a Gilgamesh division, you need to know that Jar isn't on that side of the... Otherwise, you are prone to those ganks and invades from the getting ganked by the mid laner and even the jungle showing up. And at that case, you are just dead. The Cabrakan obviously focusing a lot. Archie focusing a lot on the right side of the map. Getting this Athena, trying to get this Athena ahead, which should be an asset to them in the later of the game.
Yeah, having an ahead Athena, ahead Guardian, one just ahead of a Warrior. Warriors are always naturally going to have a better time in the laning phase, have the better wave clear. Athena, one of those that definitely has more of an impact in the team fighting stage, being able to out-rotate their opponents, has the ultimate as well as the teleport as well, so he's able to if they can force Job Fighter to teleport over to a wall or to a tower over on the opposite side of the map, Athena can ult over instead of using the teleport and teleport back to lane, try and force pressure over to the back to the right hand side of the map here. And I do like, as we called previously, and definitely was your shout for the Achilles, is not knowing what they were up against. They actually opted at the start of the game, they went Bluestone and didn't pick up a tier 1, waiting to see where they go, as the TMI gets stunned, cheat CC chain in the mid lane, gets stuck by the Kabrakan ultimate there, and here comes the Gilgamesh ultimate as well. As IM4 comes over to the mid lane as well, that was the ultimate use, has the dash into the wall. Disco looking to go in here, is being able to get out. Gets blinked on by Mino and does pick up in the back. Beautiful tornado into 2 of them. IM4 is able to pick up Hex there on the front side of the back of the Torn. The Artemis is here, has the ultimate available to them, gets walled off. Tusky is finally dropped down now. Done on the 2 of the Emoja, does get picked up by the Artemis. Artemis falls down to Job Fighter here. This is now a 2v2 here. Job Fighter was able to pick up Archibald on the backside as well. And that is a mess of a fight in the mid lane. Started beautifully there by Days, but Hels minions are able to turn around and actually respond there. Job Fighter running down Mino Kino on this left hand side. However, Ptolemy as well, actually on the left, it does get executed by the Order side tower there, diving under the tier 2 to not give away the kill.
That was a massive team fight.
Yeah.
Started very well by was it Dave's that started that fight? And then obviously the quick rotation, as we said, IM4 finally presence to actually do something in these games. Really something we needed to see. That was a great ult from Churn, countering the start of the fight by Dave's and getting out with, I think, 1 extra kill. So that was, I think, a 2 for 3.
Yes, I believe it was in the end. Yeah, it was. Archie dropped, Artemis dropped, and Mex dropped in response to Disco died. I believe Tiamat also fell down, but actually respawned off the back of that. So I think it was actually 3v3 kill. I believe it was just the fact that I got that long. It was actually respawned on the back end of the fight.
And we are already seeing a 2k lead, 1.7k. 1.4 lead on the side of Hels. So a situation they were in last game, the lead, they had it. I want to see them do something with this lead this time. Invade those maps, get everything, and just make sure that they don't give the Daves a single way back into this game.
Yeah, as you can see on the graphs, it has been the side of Hell's minions building a small lead throughout the map game itself, but it has been Daves just able to keep bringing it back to even. But now off the back of that fight, Hell's minions, massive amount of damage that comes out here onto Tiamat. Blink used by Archie Baker on the Kabrakan there to try and look to get the stun, but with the scales and the passive from Tiamat makes it an incredibly hard mage actually to look to aggress on and burst down. So it can be something very awkward to deal with.
We are seeing Gilgamesh coming right behind on the Churn here and the Artemis ult, and that's just an up into the air by Churn. Are we going to see a pickup by Daves here? Oh no, Disco doing a very good job of getting his ADC out of danger, and that will be that would be Artemis ult and kicking IM4 Chernobog out of the lane and really getting that aggression. You really need to see some more wards. Chernobog really needed to know that Gilgamesh was on his way around.
Yep, as fighting again on this right-hand side, as you say, Archie Baker just looking for this solo side here. The ultimate comes down from the Kabrakan. Unfortunately, not quite in a strong enough position, and Blue was still secured by Job Fighter on the right-hand side. It was a beautiful engage on Nino Kino onto Chernobog. Yes, it was. Sorry, there we go. I am correct. But unfortunately, just not able to pick him up, having the CC immunity on the ultimate wind up, getting over into the mid lane. And Disco did peel very well for his ADC, able to dash into the wall and dash out. Forced the beads on Ptolemy actually in the mid lane as well. I think worried about the ultimate coming through from the Nijar, so definitely impactful. A level over in the duo lane actually, and was a bit of an item ahead, but now bringing it even. Both ADCs opting to build the same here, 2 levels up in the duo side now. 2-0 and 2, having an impact that we would have liked to have seen last game on IM4 on this Chernobog. But having definitely stepped up and improving this game.
You would have thought you need. What I want to see is this Kabrakan come over and shut this shut down. The ult came out, the ult was forced by a great rotation from Gilgamesh, but knowing there wasn't any vision there, you want to see this Kabrakan slightly less focus on the solo lane and come over and try and kill the Chernobog, who is now 2-0.
Yeah, I agree. And the emoji ultimate was used on the right hand side. Disco Ferry is here as well over in this duo lane. Armelo slash slightly off the mark. Archie hovering around as well as Ptolemy. This is a 4v4 of them in this left hand side. Weren't looking for a Gold Fury here as Tusky does come through. Kabrakan ultimate was used. Kabrakan is taken up into the air here by Disco. The wins do come down. Ultimate from Gilgamesh. Ptolemy does pick up Disco, and that is a 1-for-0 trade. And with the health bars looking healthy on the side of Dave's, I would like for them to go for this Gold Fury here. Blink forwards from Archie Baker, looking stunned slightly off the mark, goes into the Tremors. No one from his team is here in a position to follow up. Drop kick slightly off the mark. However, Emoji is incredibly low. Tremors are able to lock them in place for just a little bit longer. Archie takes the kill. Athena, defender of Olympus, comes through as well to help the team out, and I would just like to see them try and take some of these objectives on the map.
Yes, I'd love to see a Gold Fury right now, but I don't think they're going to look towards it. They look to be, it feels like Kabrakan may be too low, maybe didn't want it, so they're just going for the red invade. But I do really like the re-engage the side of Dave's, getting in, stealing the purple buff as well, and then just collapsing in, realizing that Hell's minions overstayed their welcome and decided to stop on the purple buff on the way.
Yep, I agree. Mino doing what you said you wanted Archie to do, just trying to keep Iron 4 in check here on the left-hand side, forces the beads out on the Chernobog here. Just on the right-hand side, Archie is back yet again, helping his solo laner apps. The blue buff was actually able to get secured by the Achilles here. Stun comes through, just trying his best to get out. Beautiful wall there, stops him in his tracks. Tremors to keep him locked down. The stun comes through. But just, I think maybe a bit disjointed communication there. Manx didn't seem to want to fully commit and follow up to try and take Job Fighter out there. And so he's able to get away with a free ultimate taken away from Archie Baker there.
This many ganks is almost having a detrimental effect on the Athena here. Getting that slight level lead on the Achilles, and this Kabrakan just coming over and over and friggin' just not picking up Dogfighter. And he's come out of all of these ganks 3-2, died twice, and he's got 3 kills. He's perfectly fine right now, and I'd be pretty happy if I was the Achilles.
Yeah, you want to start trying to shift the focus on this Kabrakan into the mid, into the duo side here. Dropkick comes through onto Disco. Aggression from Mino Kino, just looking to fight like crazy here, but changing his mind, deciding to back off, maybe actually still following Disco. His team nowhere in sight. He's really looking to play aggressive and putting himself into some very questionable positions here on this Gilgamesh.
Again, what's happened though, if you look at the goal, I mean, the Hell's minions had a great situation at the start. They thrown it away. They were 1.5k up, and now it's dead even again. I mean, it's just a situation again where they're just not stealing enough of the camps, and they're just not doing enough with that slight lead, and they're just letting Dave's just come back into the game. Dave's with the kill lead now, and less than 300 gold towards Dave, so that's an 1800 gold swing as the T-Fight does.
Yep, Kabrakan ultimate off the mark. Tusky was used, the wins come down as well as the ultimate from the emoji here. Achilles has tools to try and get away. Massively full health bars here on the side of Dave's, looking to stun onto the team out there. Does come through, but is able to jump away. Mex is frontlining, trying to taunt as many members as he can there. Mex does pick up Job Fighter underneath the tier 1 here, and with pretty low health bars at Jones on the side of Dave, these 3 remaining members in the mid lane. This is an Athena to try and defend 2 ADCs. Dashes forward, Toll comes through, no real follow-up. The trap is perfect though underneath the emoji. Ptolemy is able to pick that one up here on the Ulla. That is a 2-for-0 fight to the side of Dave's. Trying to make use as well as that 3000 experience lead that they had before the back of that fight, and this should transition into a free Pyromancer as Archie and Mino are on the way back from the jungle and base to try and help them secure this.
My only concern here is why didn't they go gold? Gold is just worth more.
Fighting him on the left hand side, and Artemis is out of position and dies. Feels bad.
Yes, I mean, again, this wouldn't have happened if they went for Gold Fury. It's just worth slightly more than the Pyro, and they would have the Artemis and their entire team there for the Gold Fury, but maybe they were worried about maybe getting stolen or invaded by the 2 members standing on Hels.
Yeah, I think they didn't want to necessarily try and coin flip the Gold Fury. The Pyromancer is significantly easier as well. Gold Fury can be quite difficult, especially if your health bar's low. You just don't quite have the protections online yet. And I am 4 dice to Archie Baker. That was ultimate used, probably had no dash, had the Aegis but didn't want to drop in. Archie, now that his ADC has died, finally decides to do what we've been saying for quite a while now and actually look to deal with this churn of output. Gets our Armillary Sash stunned on the tier 1, but not enough damage coming out. Has got the Glad Shield here on the Nijar, so a little bit of defense, so didn't quite get taken out there, unfortunately. I'm assuming Archie might have wanted to go for some spicy plays under the tower.
Do you think Archie's listening to the stream and finally realised that he should be ganking Duo?
I mean, I would hope so, because he clearly needs some sort of direction from someone. His team clearly aren't directing him very well, and his brain clearly doesn't work well enough to figure out where he really needs.
Honestly,
Saying that, though, he has got a 2-level lead.
yes,
Doing
there is
pretty
a
well.
3 levels down. Probably, yeah, probably the Naja again falling behind, not doing as much work as maybe they should be in this game so far.
Yep, as Archie again over in the solo side, forcing Job Fighter out yet again. I could see them catching Archie out though if he really could dash forwards. Ptolemy picks up the Tiamat in the left-hand side. The emoji ultimate comes through here. Gilga forced ult out. That was a surrender vote, I believe. They just clicked up on our screen there. Coming through potentially from the side of Hels minions. As being Disco being chased underneath his tier 2 by Mino. Tremors comes through. Ptolemy picks Job Fighter up. There's the 4th death here on this Achilles. Speeds is the sash to try and not wanting to risk getting taken up into there. Disco's ultimate is down. However, Archie looks to be grabbing this wave in the backside as they're still dancing around underneath this tier 2 with this tier 1 still standing in solo.
You gotta know the mental is dead now for Hels. If they're putting up a surrender vote, I mean, like, as soon as the surrender vote comes out, you know there's some toxicity going on. Maybe everyone's getting annoyed, and it's just everyone. If Hels want to get back in, need to really calm down, reposition, and get the lead back. Again, they threw away the lead, and Daves has now got a 3.5k lead on Hels, and Hels used to have the 1.5 lead. Just throwing it away again.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's the position how the minions are in. They, like the first game that we watched here, they had a dominant early game. They had a lead. They did really well in the start, and then just seemed to drop it away to the side of Dave's here. As you say, it's a decently sized gold lead coming through. Objectives should be what they should be looking for next. Gold Fury is still standing. Has yet to really see any real interest here, and I don't see that these guys should be able to take this down. But just
not like the start here, which is the 2 of them.
no, you've got the emoji taking damage for free here, as I can't tell who that was, but someone went up. Ptolemy here taken up into the air with the Nijar roll by Disco. Is taken out in the end. Finally, Iron 4 dashing aggressive to there as well, but wins come through from the Gilgamesh. Emoji stuck in place here though, should fall down in response, but a support for a mid lane is definitely not worth in this situation. Archie Baker on a killing spree, but looking for more blood. Our days forcing the 3 members of Hell's minions back towards their tier 2 in their mid lane. As Job Fighter is here on the left hand side coming around the back, but definitely not wanting to try and fight into a 4 versus 1 team. Not quite in position. There should be a fight around the Gold Fury here. Both these teams, Archie is hovering around this back side, wanting to try and pick someone. Ultimate comes through. Disco caught in the middle, taunted back as well. Job Fighter is able to pick one up with the ultimate, second ultimate slightly off the mark. Disco clinging on for dear life in the back. Mino should drop down here, does finally fall to Iron Thor. And Mech's forced to try and run away. Iron Thor comes down, Root does connect here, basic stacks come through, there's a double kill here. Emoji is on her way back in, so should be looking to potentially try and stop the gold through here for a team. Aegis forced out on Artemis, forced to run away under the tower. They should lose the purple buff here, and there should be a free gold free on the side of Hell's minions. We were talking about the mentality being ruined here, but off the back of that fight, I can imagine they're feeling pretty good.
They must be feeling pretty good. That is exactly what Hels needs to get back into this game. And even that though, the 3 kills and the gold fury only just bringing it even gold-wise to Dave's. So there's still much more to play in this game. Dave's needs to regroup, take the loss, and just get back to farming.
Yeah, Hell's Minion is finally back into a, well, no, I wouldn't say dominant position, but starting to control the flow of the game again, back over 1,000 gold lead. I've got the Phantom Shell on the Yemoja for the Kabrakan ultimate, which is definitely playing a big part in these fights when it is being used. Does help to get the carries, and with the build on this Nijar here now finally starting to come through, has the CAD shield completed, has the Cloak of Concentration, so for extra protections and the cooldown. This Nijar has gone from being a target that these guys are looking for to someone that they can't quite burst down yet. It's definitely making it difficult for the side of Dave to really choose a target, especially with how difficult the team can be with the percent reduction on the passive. As we have got multiple members of Dave's on this right-hand side looking to steal away this Greater Scorpion and potentially look for a Pyromancer off the back of this.
Yes, the Pyromancer, no. Oh, they look to be starting it up now. Everyone from Hels is coming round. We've got the rotation come out from Artemis, so it'll be a big team fight here on the Pyro if they actually try and go for it.
Yep, going in, there is the Achilles look stun. Tusky comes down, hits one, goes straight in towards the backline now. Yemoja caught out of position, Tremors come down, forced toward to try and save himself. Ptolemy is able to pick that one. Gilga jumping forwards aggressively. Now kind of split, there go with the Kabrakan walls, and now it is Achilles' turn to get locked out of the position. Mino drop kick straight into the wall, trying to pick up Disco Ferry here. Ptolemy is able to pick the wall for the double kill. Dashing forwards is Mex, trying to take out the Achilles here. Triple kill for Ptolemy. Can he go for the pentakill here? Looking for another one. Iron Forward takes Ptolemy out though. Takes down a second one. That is the carry's dead. That is a triple kill for Iron Forward. That is 3 members dead from the back of Iron Forward altered in. Minokino trying to get away. Unfortunately does fall down. Iron Forward loses his life to Archie though here. On the Kabrakan, stuck between a tier 1 and a tier 2. Here comes the Tiamat double kill and a deicide for the side of Hell's minions. Changing that fight back around, built back in from IM4, able to make a huge impact there, stripping 3 members away of their lives very quickly.
Well, I was about ready to say that, you know, Hell's minions their lead again, but coming in with that huge ult from IM, doing exactly what he needs to be doing as an ADC and actually being on time for these team fights is making a huge difference from the first game to the second game. So we're going to be looking to see a lot more from this 8-2 now on the Chernobyl. If Daves want to continue to, if Daves want to win this game, they are going to need to shut down this Chernobyl.
Yeah, I think Chernobog's definitely the biggest issue here, as we kept saying in the early when he was not necessarily winning as much, but definitely in still a pretty strong position that Archie just needed to focus over on the duo side a bit more, just never really looked over to that side of the map. Was able to take him down once previously when caught out of position, but I'm just looking at the builds actually here as well going forward, and I'm say I don't get the Gauntlet of Thebes on Archie. I'm assuming just so that they have the extra auras for the front, or maybe towards the back line to peel. But I'm definitely a bit unsure on it, as well as Mex here. This Athena, I'm not a fan of the ethereal staff. I would prefer to see more defense and more cooldowns coming out, as the fire does break out around the fire pit here. No ultimates expended just yet, looking to try and poke out. This could be try and force a pyro or fire giant here. Sorry, the Yemoja ultimate does wear out. Winds come down, the walls come through as well here. From the Kabrakan, Gilga all forced out, isn't able to take anyone out with it. Tusky comes through, Gilga barely able to live and survive with his life here. 3 members incredibly low here on the side of Hell's minions. Rooted is Ironfall, dashing forwards, looking to try and pick Archie Baker up on the backside, who seems to be trying to peel for his team. Ironfall going down with the ultimate, is able to pick up Artemis. Gets trapped under the tier 2, not enough damage coming out though there. Picks up a second one, Archie Baker falls down here. And that is a 2-for-0 for the side of Hell's minions. Going to look to strip the jungle. This should be a fire giant.
Yes, this definitely should be a fire giant. I really like the, just the, again, that Chernobyl coming in slightly later after everyone's done their damage. All their ults have come off. Chernobyl comes in, cleans up 2 people. It's just been that for the last 2 team fights, as they're looking to zone off the Ulla and the Athena out of this fire giant. Gilgamesh is coming in to try and steal it though, but I doubt it will be in time. Oh no,
they're dropping. I just don't think they want to coin flip this and just risk it too much here. They were actually looking, I think, to kill Ptolemy in the mid lane there. Mex did ult in onto his other to try and save his life, and now they are deciding with slightly lower health bars and in a bit of a riskier position, Hels Minions to do confirm the Pyromancer and are able to get that.
This will be the biggest bit of the game, coming in at about 4,500 gold. That's Team Match running in Athena and picking her up. So that's pretty big from Hels, and as we said, this is exactly what we wanted to see from Hels to really do everything that needs to be done. Chernenbog's coming in properly, the Tiamat's doing more damage, and Disco, being that tankier Naja, is setting up her team very well. Evo, I think you're on mute. We are continuing though. I mean, everyone's just farming up now and warding around the fire giant, and it's just basically setting up for the next FG. Evo, we can't hear you. Teamfight's about to start. Bracken ult coming out.
Come in. Now I'm gonna come in real quick for Evo. Hello.
Hello, critters.
Hello.
Right. Hi. Hello.
So, Jay
what's
Hewitt,
going
yeah?
on?
Well, we see a lot of poking around on the fire giant area right now. Not too much going on. I don't know if my mic's buzzing. I don't know, who knows. But yeah, we're just doing a lot of posturing around the fire giant. And Disco Face is going to get this pluck. It's going to go up in the air with Archie Baker in hand. And Archie Baker is in a world of hurt right now. Drop fire, goes for the execute on the Achilles. Doesn't get it. Disco Fairy in big trouble here. As well as Miyokino and Daves might be pushed back very hard here. But Archie Baker does take down Drop Fighter. And Iron Force ulting in. Mex is going to get caught out. Mex is going to go down. Killing spree for Iron 4. And Iron 4 is going to get another kill. Is Eco back?
Well, this man's got a lot of energy, but the looks like Hels Minions are going towards the F now. That should just be free. The EFG, and that might be looking towards a game 3 today.
Yes, that's for sure. We have just ticked over the 30-minute mark. AFG is started here, unfortunately, needing to stay hydrated throughout the cast, leads to technical problems. Archie Baker's ultimate does come through, knocked up there, going into the tremors by the fire giant. Ironfall is able to pick Archie up, putting his 12th kill on the board, make that his 13th. Ptolemy falls down. In the back, Disco is able to take Mino Kino out, and that is a full retreat from the Artemis, the last member standing. But was enough of a commit and enough of a sacrifice there on the side of Dave stops Hels Minions being able to get the EFG. However, having backed and getting full health bars, a couple items picked up here, Decius Bow here by Iron 4, as well as the Spirit Robe on the Achilles, definitely wanting to be wary as Iron 4 is starting the Fire Giant.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with the backs on all 3 of them. They were low, they were a quarter HP, but I mean, all 5 of them, you don't take too much damage with 5 Fire Giant, and I do believe with the 5 of them there, they definitely should be able to take Fire Giant, then back and retreat, while all 5 of them stayed with them. But
you say this, but health bars are dropping low. Nearly falling down there is the Tiamat 2 of the Fire Giant. That would have been very good to see. And we see the damage charts up on screen now as well. Tiamat actually showing how much damage they're actually outputting in these fights. We weren't really sure about the pig during the picks and bans, but definitely showing that they are doing a lot of work here, actually being able to match pace very easily with Iron 4 on the Chernobog here.
Yeah, and obviously the Ul being 5k down on the Tiamat, Artemis actually being able to keep up on the damage here. 27,000 coming out from her so far. Chernobog at the 30,000, but Chernobog seems to be picking up a lot of those final hits, a lot extra gold from those kills, and has gone for a very attack speed 10 build with Death's Temper, is that one?
Yes.
They team fight starts here.
Yeah, I think just wanted to disrupt with the front line. Winds come down, Beast Force on the team up. Blink forward, Disco trying to get into this fight. Iron 4 finally drops down to Archie Baker. That is a massive pick up, the one that they needed to win in this fight. Disco goes forward, still hasn't got the ultimate, does not fall down just yet, though Disco is able to pick the Mex up on the front there, takes Archie Baker into the sky. Artemis fell down as well. This is so far. Disco takes Archie Baker as well. This is now a 3 for 2. As the side of Hels Minions are still looking to chase down the side of Dave's Ptolemy, barely able to get that axe comes through just to try and give himself an extra bit of peel. With Disco and the mid laner full health here for the side of Hels Minions, it should be a mid lane tier 2 dropping down.
Yes, I mean, Hels put out quite the damage, honestly, with their pants down there. I mean, Dave's able to pick up 2 of them without the FG buff now, especially Churn without the FG. That's going to be huge. As long as they can somewhat defend this with the 2 of them. 20 seconds before someone comes up, though, but I do think the mid Phoenix at least will fall down.
There's a chance that they just have to commit. Yeah, they've just committed to the fact that the Phoenix is lost autonomy, getting jumped on by the auxiliary slash there. By Nijar. Nijar just incredibly tanky here, doing a lot of work. Has got the Bumper's Hammer online. Has the Oni Hunter's Garb as well completed, so it's 9% mitigation when surrounded by 3 members of the opposing team. And a 25 to 20 scoreline, significantly higher kill count than the previous game, and definitely a lot more fighting going on.
No, yes, I agree. What's interesting though is, I mean, Athena and Kraken have been 20 for a while. Kraken only just picking up the Bumper's Hammer, and Athena's still yet to get it.
Someone, I can't tell who that was, autonomy taken straight up into the air and drops down, instantly blown up. Tusky comes out and
Surrender vote from
I believe might have
Dave's,
been a
I'm
surrender
assuming?
vote from the side of Dave's there. Yeah, I think they just lost all the early game tempo that they had built up, and as you can see there as well, damage real quick. Tiamat was the biggest threat. We were so focused on IM4 there that we never realized just how much burst damage was coming out from the Tiamat, ending 2-5. 2-5, 5-2, and 15 there. Sorry, so highest assists and second highest kills. IM4 probably just sneaking a couple away, definitely doing a lot of damage, which you can see. I just feel as though they just had the zoning, and without that magical burst on the side of Dave's, I think it just ended up causing them a little bit too much of an issue in the team fighting stages.
No, that's understandable. Honestly, I got everything I asked for game 1, game 2. They've improved. IM4 come back in. We didn't realize how much Jehuit was actually doing, but the Tiamat here did so much, and obviously compared to the Ulla pick here, Ulla doesn't really have that much multi-target damage compared to the Tiamat. So it's just the Ptolemy was doing as much as he can, but maybe we needed some more of a mage in the mid lane to do that AoE damage. Maybe would have changed up the game.
Yeah, with the Artemis and Dilla, even in the jungle with Archie Baker here, picking up, and even Mino, I guess, a lot of the damage was single target. They just didn't have the AoE burst that they needed. Team Out had a difference of being able to single out someone whilst in the air stance with the 1, had the AoE stun, able to jump on and have the CC as well, hit multiple members and just had the disruption and the burst that they needed for the team. Where in the respects and the sides here of days, they had to full commit and burst down 1 member at a time. And after that burst came through and 1 member was gone with the abilities on cooldown, the side here of Hell's Minions was just able to respond and just pick up not only individual members but also just provide massive burst across the board to multiple members and single abilities that just came up too detrimental.
Maybe we are seeing a death to the 2 to 3 hunter meta. We are looking. I believe it was just a mage diff, and the amount
Yeah.
of damage that came out. We mages are obviously pretty important to doing that big area of effect as we've been talking about. So coming into game 3, you'd want to see maybe a mid laner, a proper Foth again. Foth did so much for them in game 1, obviously banned in game 2, but you'd want to see maybe a Merlin or a Persephone doing big AoE damage to everyone in game 3.
Yeah, I think they definitely need to look for a traditional mage in the mid lane. I think Mino on the Artemis, I nearly said that, incorrect, wrong player. On the Gilgamesh was fine. I liked some of the bit of a flex pick, but I just don't think they. Again, I think it's the inverse now. Instead of what happened game 1 is now happening to Dave's game 2, where I feel as though yes they had the Athena, but I think with the Chernobog they just weren't quite able to get the rotations that they needed to make use of the Athena early. I think IM4 with this Chernobog was just able to rotate a lot. Felt like it was rotating quicker. And because of it ulting the back line, he was just able to get into those positions where I think the side of Daves weren't really ready for. And was just able to pick up the targets that it needed. And definitely, so I think maybe was last hitting a few times, but 33,000 player damage definitely isn't anything to make light of.
Yeah, I also think Archie Baker there did a lot of doing with the Kabrakan jungle, did a lot in the early game to mid game, but did fall off towards the later game, as you'd expect, because he went into more of a tanky items. But I'd like to. I would have again. He went into solo for a lot of his game when just leaving the ADCs to farm free. Only really showed up once. I'd want to see him have more of a mid and ADC pressure than rather be sitting on this Athena most of the game.
Yeah, I think the Athena, as strong as it is, just needs to get online, get some defense, get the cooldowns online to have the disruption that it needs in the team fight. But I felt like as well, they didn't really have the team's presence and the follow up that necessarily maybe relied on the Athena enough. I think as strong as the taunt was, you were only really, even if you were taunting multiple people, that you could only focus out one member at a time with the build and the team setup that they had going forwards. So it just definitely didn't quite have the impact that I liked.
Yeah, the wards as well. I'm seeing a lot more wards on this game compared to Dave's. I think Dave's had a lot less than they did the first game, so it was going to be a very more ward and vision heavy game.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think I liked the fact that Dave's in game one had such a presence on the map in terms of the vision that they had. And Semter kind of lack, I think, a little bit more this game, maybe feeling themselves a little bit too much. Definitely didn't help after that back of that game one. They were in such a strong position, but as we say, I think Archie just not looking at the targets that he needed to, spending way too much time, as you say, on the solo side. Should have been looking for this Tiamat, looking to try and force Thor out, and not letting them get into these positions that they were in.
True, true. And with that, I mean, it's 1-1. Dave's one game to Dave's, one game's to Hell's Minions, and we should be going into game 3 shortly. And with that, we'll probably take a quick break while the players get ready. Thank you.
Close eyes and body see through. Time flies when I'm with you. Looming below the sun, holding me like a knife. Sweat and rain fall in a dream. Rest can wait eternity. Follow me through the clouds. We're never coming down. Hand in hand under the moon, day and night, journey with you. Out of body, far out. We're never coming down,
And welcome back to the finals, mid-season finals, Hell's Minions versus Dave. We're a 1-1. We're going to game 3. Some very interesting games so far indeed, as we see the Yamoja ban on Dave's and a rat ban on Hell's, coming in with the Capri, the Osiris, waiting for the last two here. But so far, I mean, Yamoja was picked up by Hell's Minions last game, and obviously the respect ban coming in.
Yeah, it was picked up in the last game. In respect bands coming through again. Still, Osiris and the Ratatosk are taken away. Baron here as well on the sides of Hell's minions. So rotating the same bands, looking for maybe less aggressive support this time round on the side of Dave's. Opting to go for this Geb here with the shield, the ultimate allowing for a much stronger team fighting presence over the Gilgamesh. Achilles again, though, run back for the third game in a row from Hell's minions. Definitely had a strong presence, but if you want to talk about strong presence, especially if we're going for late games, Carly, finally not banned away, is able to get picked up on the side of Dave's here.
Well, I mean, Dave's was the person banning Carly 2 games in a row. This time, respectfully banning the Capri, maybe to try and get the Carly pick through. And we're looking at a Hell's minion picking up Nijar maybe here, which is going to be an interesting. It's a hover. But yes, running back the Achilles and the Churn worked so well in game 2. Achilles working pretty well in game 1. So it's going to be very interesting at least. We've got Dave's here with the Geb, something we haven't seen yet. It's going to be pretty good. You can cleanse the sashes of the Najar. We've got the stun stat. We got the stuns you can cleanse from the Achilles and the roots from the Churn. Maybe that'll help with the Jingwei and Kali's safety.
Yeah, I think after that last game, I think the Gebs here to help stop the backline being able to get picked off. I'm not a fan of Nijar into Geb myself, but the Nijar had a big impact in the game, just picking up targets that it needed to pick up. Thoth taken away from Hell's minions, maybe thinking Dave's look to go for a more traditional mage this game, Persephone taken off the table. So just waiting for the final 2 bans here from either team. But I think a traditional mage is definitely what these teams want to be looking for. I don't think the double hunter worked for Dave's last time. It definitely was strong in the early game, but I think transitioning into the late game, I think a mage just has such stronger burst potential that he was just able to run away with it as Izzet is taken off the table.
Yes, I mean, Izzet's definitely a good one. I've seen her a lot more in support than I have in mid, but that ult is so good at securing objectives, healing everyone up, and it does a lot of damage, even if you are building support. Tiamat taken away with Dave's. Was it Dave's team that had the Tiamat last time?
It was Hell's minions last game, so that is a respect takeaway final pick from the side of Dave's here, so definitely not want to deal with the team again. Had a huge impact in the last game as Morgan Le Fay taken for Hell's minions. That's a lot of burst, a pretty sustained heavy mid laner with the ultimate, hard to take out, and a lot of CC coming through as well in the mid. So there should be a strong 3v3 in the mid lane.
I agree, but also Morgan Le Fay is very easy to just chase down and target and kill quite easily. So without the escape, her ultimate gives her the slight sustain to keep in lane to try and kill potential. But without that, I mean, she's got the fear, but a beads or just a jump over the fear, it's quite easy to dodge. So coming in, Morgan Le Fay can be quite easily poked out of lane or just kicked out of lane. But the Baba Yaga coming in, maybe trying to fight them in the later game instead of fighting them at the start. With the Kali, Jingwei, and Baba, this is a very, very late game, especially with the Geb. So I want to see Hels taking the aggression, winning the early game, and keeping the lead. Otherwise, Dave's just going to run away with this.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they need to as well. Amaterasu in the early game definitely does suffer a little bit. Up in towards level 7, when you have the second ability, the Reflecting Shield, built up enough points to be able to clear the waves easily, is going to struggle, especially against such an early game bully like the Achilles. I liked the chat cover to try and keep pressure, or maybe even out pressure the Achilles in the early game, but the Amaterasu is just going to provide the extra bit of team fight for the team over the chat. The stun, definitely impactful on the ultimate, has the silence and the aura for the speed and the power, can definitely be strong for the team as well. As well, seeing Athena hovered here for the side of Hell's minions. Changing Xing Tian, I mean, I'm a fan of Xing. He hasn't been good since about season 3.
No,
but it is locked in here for the side of Hell's minions.
Xing has been very good since the auto attackers on the side of Dave's. Jing Tian with that one able to what's it called? I don't know.
Ferocious Roar.
Yeah, that one.
Furious Roar, whichever it is.
Reducing the damage of basic attacks does quite a lot towards the later side of the game. So if Jing gets hit by that, I mean, it's a lot. It's actually quite a bit of damage that you're able to stop coming through. And the Jing Tian Najaro, a lot of setup for Morgan Le Fay to just hit the ult and just destroy everyone that's around. Naja being able to burn the beads, Jing Tian burning beads. So we shall see. But on the side of Dave's, I like the Amaterasu pick. It's very safe in solo. The heal is great, and the aura of the damage aura or the speed aura is very good towards later stages of the game, especially with the Kali and the Jing and the Baba Yaga.
Yeah, it's definitely impactful for the team. It's going to have a lot of utility. Again, as I've already said, the ultimate is incredibly impactful in the late game. But I agree with you on the Zing Chan as well. Zing, if this could potentially maybe look for a flex, maybe into the solo lane and maybe take the Achilles into the support role. It has been seen before. A Zing Chan that's ahead and is able to match and win, potentially even look to try and win lane, especially with assistance from the jungler, can just be so impactful in a team. He's such a difficult god to kill with his passive, giving him passively massive amounts of HP 5, can easily reach 100 HP 5 and just kind of chill in lane and fight. The ultimate is a massive zoning tool, has the hook slam, the knock up, and the AoE route that they changed a couple of patches back to a massive AoE, can be very impactful into these teams. I think they might be looking for the Xing Chan, not necessarily for anyone specifically, except I think Carly could be the main reason. Forces Carly's beads. If she looks to go into the back line, Xing Chan can ultra away, look to root her. Could definitely be helpful for the team.
Yes. Going back on what you said about the Jing Tian solo, I actually the Jing Tian solo this game. Against the Armor, with the Raw doing less basic attack damage. Armor doesn't really have kill potential on the Jing either, so I mean that's just a dead lane for Armor and Jing, and Jing's 20 is probably better than the Armor 20 with the ult and the CC and everything. So it just kind of holds the lane, Armor versus Jing. And we shouldn't expect any kills to be really going on without a big gank from the junglers.
Yeah, I think Achilles wins the lane against the Amon, but I think a Xing Tian behind or not really having the impact that it needs, especially if it's played into the support side, just isn't quite as strong as it should be. And I feel as though you want to maybe just say we're going to take an even solo lane here for the side of Hell's minions, chuck the Xing Tian over in the solo, get the pressure where you need it, and have it taken over into the support side.
For once, we don't need a break. We're straight into the action today, and that is a Jing port roll instead of the solo. So that will be Achilles versus Armor in the solo lane. Achilles going to be poking out the Armor quite a bit, but the Armor's heal should keep her in lane quite a bit. No surprise picks this time, at least. Everyone's actually gone. Well, it's just Dave's, really, isn't it? Dave's has actually gone for a comp that everybody knows where most people are going.
Yeah, as to be expected, they've actually picked a relatively normal team, and there is actually one surprise pick. It's Zolat for the side of Dave's. A Subbers came in over in the solo side, replacing Mexia on this Amaterasu. A play that I'm also somewhat well versed in here. And again, similarly to Mex, who played the Osiris in the first game for Dave's here, Zolat struggling in the solo side against the Achilles, but also looking to try and go for this Golden Blade rush.
Yes, I mean, I've seen a lot of Golden Blade rush on, and that will just be a very tough start for Amma to stay alive and just try and stay away from the Achilles, clearing the waves and everything. Should be fine. She should be able to get towards the Golden Blade quite easily and come back to lane. She has gone beads though, so at some point she will have to come back to lane and may lose some XP for that. Beads picked up because of Naja King obviously doesn't want to be ganked too heavily in the solo.
Yeah, it doesn't want to risk the disco, and Naja also actually opting to go for the beads here, not wanting to risk getting stunned by the Carly and potentially CC chain, as well as Archie Baker is rotating over into this right hand side here, maybe to try and look for a fire, but there is a ward. No, there's no ward, but disco here, pings are coming out.
Yeah, and that'll just be blue buff for blue buff. Both teams getting their own blue buffs this time around. No ganks, which honestly favors the Carly. Naja really wants to be getting stuck in earlier than later. The later this game goes, the better the Carly's going to get over the Naja.
Yeah, you definitely need to be wary. Naja as well actually got into the Carly. If there isn't any beads available for Carly, can take her up into there. They just want to try and keep this Carly out as much as possible, so that is forced to dash under his tier 1 here. Is able to stay in really well, actually, is open to changing stances.
Yes, and that should be now probably just about, there you go. Golden Blade bought over there. We are seeing the Jing on the side of Dave's going back to the normal, well, we say normal, the old meta, or the meta that we've seen for the last month or two with Gilded Arrow and what I'm
Arrows.
assuming will be Devos. Sometimes I've seen a little bit of Bloodforge, but I'm assuming today it will be Devos and then just be going into that normal Devo script build.
Yeah, I think Jingwei she just relies so heavily on the crits as fighting is over on the right hand side here, so that forced towards the wrong tower.
Yeah, and the ult missed by the Achilles. The ult from Armor might actually... And yeah, unfortunately, the Achilles ult not connecting and healing up from the return ult from Armor, being able to pick up the Achilles, and that is a great start if you're Zola.
Yeah, beautifully done. I think looking to try and go aggressive on the Achilles, they're hitting level 5 before the Armor. Armor just barely able to hit 5 there. Was able to dodge the, wasn't in XQ range, but just nicely done to keep themselves alive and to return the kill.
Even with that first blood gold though, 100 gold down on Dave's, maybe not farming as well as Hell's minions is. The Jingwei Geb over here obviously struggling to clear the wave, very much later game gods and very struggle heavily to clear wave the game.
Yeah, exactly. You've got Ferocious War, roll the one on the Xing Chan. You've got the basis the ulti force on Mino Kino here.
That was a huge ult boost, saving him and his ADC with a 4-man gank coming out from the side of Hels. Absolutely nothing apart from the Geb ult. Was a nice
Xing Chan
escape.
ultimate was used as well though, which it didn't actually quite catch. I don't know how. I think Mino must have shielded himself to cleanse it before he hit him, or just maybe just got thrown out of position, just not able to have the damage to take him out.
That's something we didn't pick up on though. The Jing Tian ult is a knock-up, and the Jingwei will be able to just fly away.
On the throw, yeah, as well as the book slam as well, seeing Jingwei surprisingly safe actually into it. But I just want to go back to your point as well of the Gilded Arrow on the Jingwei, as I was mentioning previously before we got rudely interrupted by Solo, was she's heavily relied on crit. If she can't basic attack and burst people down, her abilities aren't really going to fare over in response.
This is yeah, that's true. It's a very aggressive game from both sides. We just saw a Amaterasu run into the jungle on their enemy side and take that blue buff from the Achilles. And this on this side, we saw the Jing Tian steal the purple buff from the side of Dave's. So a lot's going on and a lot more aggression. What I like to see from both sides, trying to steal as much farm from the other side as possible.
Yeah, just trying to make use of the lanes that they've got. Zolat just casually running straight past his opposing solo laner there. Has the speed stance aura available to them, so unfortunately, Jobfighter kind of just have to let Zolat go there, not in a position to really look to try and chase him down, and just trying to farm as much as possible, having this Golden Blade and having the clear advantage here on the Armor, just wanting to try and build as much lead as possible.
Sure, and this Armor obviously early game enabling her to just, I mean, her speed stats very good, enabling her to rotate, and then the ult, very, very strong early game ultimate to just try and get those team fights done where the Achilles will not be able to show up as well.
Yeah, we were talking about the mid lane earlier as well. When I talk about not showing up, the mid lane is not really doing a great deal this game so far. Both have Karen's Coin and Sands of Time online, going for the same build so far. The mid lane is just looking to farm. Not a lot of fighting has really been seen, as we do see the supports rotating over to the mid lane now, so might start to see some more action.
The Gebel comes out after Expo and the enemy the Baba Yaga comes out. I believe that was Beans on Disco Ferry. I didn't quite see it, but Disco Ferry dropped low, but killed by Archfinger. They're coming in on the Baba though. I believe that's just a disengage. As long as everyone gets out, that's a win. Oh, a blink on. Was that a blink from Jing Tian there? And ult from Jing to get out.
Was
Kali is killing.
a lot of stuff's happening. My God, this is a mess.
God, this is a mess, but it is indeed a win. Dave's.
They did pick up a kill. They were able to take Disco Ferry down in the back, as Achilles is now here and instantly decides he doesn't want any part in this. Yeah, Iron 4 came over with the ultimate
Your team has
Jingwei was able to get there with the reincarnation passive from the base, I believe, and actually try and match the rotation. Got over there, started trying to force a fight against Iron 4, but was struggling a bit. A Kaival finished on Iron 4, so even though Jingwei has the life, still going to struggle to box there against her opposing ADC.
Yes. And obviously Dave's now the first game in this free game set where they've had the early game lead. Usually Hels has taken over initiative and killed 1 or 2 members of Dave's, but Dave's with the lead. Maybe they'll hold on to it. And again, with Dave's with the lead, with the 1k lead, I want to see them going into camps. I want to see them evade, something that Hels Minion failed to do in the early game, last couple of games.
Yeah, both these teams just seem to not really capitalize on the early game leads that they have as much as we would like to see. I agree with you there fully. Just having that early pressure, but not really looking to try and go for the opposing jungle. However, we have seen Zola quite a few times. As we see here, actually opting to proxy farm is just looking to take out as much of the opposing jungle as possible, roaming around, has just taken the wave, looking to back here, and in response, so this could be Archie Baker looking to try and defend his team's blue buff, maybe let's try and get for a kill on Job Fighter.
This is what I don't understand about some sort. They'll proxy farm when they're blues. It just doesn't make sense. Why would you? I mean, the Kali has to rotate over to defend the blue Achilles, but like, your blue buff's coming out. So what you do is you go get your blue buff, you clear a couple of waves, get your blue, then you proxy farm. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Zolat wanted to back, so the best way to get the back like actually effectively is to proxy farm and then get a free back. But the danger of obviously losing out on your blue buff as Zolat looks to invade any of the back camps.
Yeah, just looking again, Trebuchet actually pushing down his wave here. It's going to be very difficult for Job Fighter to deal with this with no minion wave. Zolat looking to proxy farm again. Has got a Witchblade as well as this Death's Toll here, so has the sustain as well as the defense. Looking to actually go on Disco's speed buff here, looking to try and go for a fight here. Ultimate comes through.
Yeah, I mean that'll be a pickup on the Naja, and this is or not, as the ult from that is a 3-man rotation. Zolat on the punishing the attempt at the invade, but Archie Baker picking up the Naja, the Gebolt coming out, and they are absolutely destroying Hels Minions behind their CNF.
Yeah, Baba Yaga ultimate comes down. Archie is actually picked up on the back left side there by the Morgan Le Fay, so it is actually a 2-for-1 trade here, but there's still a trade in the favors for the side of Daves if they can disengage here. Zola looking to go incredibly aggressive, forced an ultimate and engage from Iron 4 to try and defend his team's jungler. Without the Amaterasu ultimate, it was potentially a good chance for the side of Hell's Minions, but Dave's just playing that incredibly well. The team able to get there in time to save their solo lane and actually pick up 2 kills.
And this substitute is doing work for on the side of Dave's, picking up a kill and picking up all of the aggression and the pressure on the right side of the map. If you're Held, I would honestly be ditching the right side of the map and looking more towards playing around the left side, looking at Gold Fury, honestly giving up on that speed buff and taking the Gold Fury.
Yeah, they definitely have the pressure and lockdown on the right hand side. Don't really need to worry about it too much. Look to try and shift pressure to the left hand side. Archie not had to have the have the rotations over onto the right hand side, but with this lead, this does look just to be an instantly cleared free Pyromancer for the side of Dave's, and 11 minutes 40. That's a brilliant early pickup, and no one on the side of Hell's Minions having any clue. And actually, just wanting to point out the tier 1 with that forced fight and the Trebuchet pushing was able to drop the tier 1 on the side of Hell's Minions, so it is a tower lead as well for the side of Dave's.
And we're looking at like one of the biggest deficits we've had in the last 3 games. That is a 3k lead on the side of Dave's, doing very much work. And for a team comp that is as late game as they are, with the Kali, the Baba Yaga, and all sorts, we've got the armor engaging on the
Chernobog, yeah.
Chernobog, that's the brain, that's the word. Achilles coming in. I don't think he's going to be able to pick up Zolat here. Just the heals coming out and the speed from Zolat being able to leave. On the right side of the map though, Daves did actually get the Gold Fury. Kali ult coming out and a disengage come from Daves, and they didn't lose a single player. I
No,
think that
not a
was spotted.
single. Yeah, no, that was brilliantly well done. Not a single life dropped. Iron Paul was on the right hand side, so like forcing aggression onto him, forced job fighter over to that side of the map as well. There was a 3 versus 4 then, but the left hand side to take that gold fury, pushed them over to a 4.4k, 4,500 gold lead. Like you said, it's the biggest lead we've seen. 4 kills to 1 at 13 minutes and 10 seconds here for the side of Dave's. And as you say, it's Zola, I think, just providing the pressure and just having such a dominant situation on this right hand side.
Yeah, this sub is doing absolute work for Dave's, and it's just, I mean, they're doing so well at like abusing their lead. It's something that Hels do too well in game 1 and 2, and I mean, Hels able to bring it back in game 2. But if Dave's keep going like this, they're not going to give Hels any chance to make a comeback into this game.
Yeah, I agree. And we've been putting so much pressure over onto this right hand side of the map. Not really mentioned the fact that, well, to be fair, there's not really been a lot going off. Archie is 2-1 on this Carly, though, 2 levels up in the jungle, which is really a position he wants to be in. But in the duo lane, it's actually even in a slight XP deficit here. Admiral 1 on this Zing Chan here, actually a level up on his opposing support. So, not really a lot going off the rest of the map.
No, yeah, everything is going on. But it's just, again, it's the Chernobog does a lot of work in the late game, but does the Chernobog do as much work as the Jing Wei? And again, the Geb here is going to do so much work at cleansing the Jing ult as well. I mean, Jing Wei can jump out, so he doesn't have to worry about cleansing Jing ult there. But if a Baba Yaga gets caught in Jing Tian ult, the Geb shield just cleanses it and gets out perfectly fine. So later on in the game, level 20, the Geb's gonna be doing work, the Kali's gonna be doing work, the Baba's doing work, and Zola here is just doing to make sure that his team is getting ahead as fast as possible.
Yeah, Shogun's Kasari finished on him now, as well as the fully upgraded Horrific Emblem there, just looking to keep people locked in place, keep fighting them as much as possible here. But if we look at the player damage, it's actually Archie here lowest on the team, ultimate kills down the mid lane, Iron 4 going aggressive on by Archie.
And Archie, yeah, picking up Iron 4 in the left side of the map, making sure his Jing Wei is getting it. And the Amaterasu just having that tier 1 tower down so early, just being able to farm, clear the wave, and then get into the other side of the jungle, something the Achilles here can't quite do yet. So this Amaterasu is just doing, again, so much work in the mid, just helping and making sure that this Barber gets as much farm as she needs.
Yeah, the mid lane mages have just been farming like crazy this game, matching item for item here actually. But unfortunately, it's Baba actually has the stacked Karen's coin by the looks of things, where there's not a stacked coin on the side of Hels Ninja.
We saw Blatonomy's beads and ult come out, and that was a blink Jing Tian onto the Baba. I'm assuming the Geb cleansed that perfectly fine, and the Geb ult came out in that fight as well. So I mean, that's Geb ult, that's Baba beads, Baba ult. We want to re-engage here in Hels and try and get something done. You are seeing the Kali in the backline looking for a pickup. So it looks to be a 4v4 in this. I think Hels minions don't want any of it.
Yeah, I agree. The junglers as well this game, say 3-1 here on this Carly. The build starting to get aligned, but the 3rd lowest damage on the game and lowest on the team as well, even behind this support Geb actually. There's not quite, the junglers this game not having the impact that they had in the previous game as TP is used here by the Achilles.
Yeah, and the fight starts with the armor again, stopping anyone from really having any impact to try and stop that tower, and this will probably just be a Pyromancer coming out for Dave's.
Yeah, that's definitely a free Pyromancer. I like the fact that they didn't want to fully commit to a Fire Giant here, only 17 minutes in, didn't want to risk it too much, but I think they're in a position where they could have looked to this Amatros, who's so strong at the moment, could have easily zoned multiple members of the side of Hels minions. Had they gone to check the Fire Giant there, I think they could have gone to risk it, as Zola's just looking to try and beat the crap out of Iron 4.
Yeah, this is just bullying. This is what we call internet bullying, guys. You should never ever do what this is being done on screen currently. How's that have Iron 4?
And Geb's here, and it's a
and that'll be a Gold Fury in a couple of seconds probably as it's coming up. So the Gold Fury just spawned, Iron 4 dies, and 4 people on Dave ready to spawn. There's
Yeah,
nothing
this-
that Hels minions can do. This is exactly what we wanted to see from Hels in game 1 of the league. This is how you do it.
Yep, this is an only Fury. Should be free here for the side of Dave's. They've got such a dominant lead here. Looking at nearly 7,000 gold here. Is 7,000 gold up over the side of Hell's Minions. Should be a tier 1 and dropping here in the left-hand side. And you saw Zola there, how low he dropped to the Gold Fury. Already back to 50% HP just with the passive healing off the chance change of the 1.
Indeed. I mean, they are looking at taking. They took the left tower there, and everyone's backing gold that they've got. There's a 2-level lead on armor, a 3-level on Kali. Everyone else about equal, but the XP difference again. It's just that Kali is getting closer and closer to becoming just a pentakill problem.
Yeah, exactly. Just slowly biding their time. I'm looking forward to seeing these later team fights coming up towards the 25-minute mark. And just see Archie Baker hold left click, serrated edge now finished as well. He's a complete item up on his opponent. 4 levels here over Disco Ferry in this game, just being an absolute nightmare in the end.
And Disco Ferry getting a nice sash onto the Gem to stop the Amarok from hitting, but it's just a disengage there from Hels as the five from Dave's are just standing by their tier 2, looking for fights and looking to get something off before they inevitably either go for a Fire Giant or try and siege.
Yeah, they could definitely look for this Phoenix on the right hand side as Archie is around the backside again.
Yeah, Archie is just being. I feel like that there's definitely a vision problem on the side of Hels. I mean, Archie should not be being able to get there. Chernobog is on the left side of the map split, pushing the left tower, getting the tier 2 tower, maybe stopping someone from going FG. But if I was Amma there, I wouldn't need back. I'd just call Fire Giant.
Yeah, I think that should have been a call. We have the pressure. We have such a strong position with this solo and jungle situation where they're multiple levels ahead of the opponents, where they should just be looking to try and get this main objective to try and burn down this Fire Giant as fast as possible here. I agree with you 100%.
Even if they get the, even if they get the Phoenix there, it's still worth to strip the rest of the towers off the map and just win the game from there. Opting for the safer option though. I mean, they have still got a 7 or an 8k lead right now, so they're doing perfectly fine, and they are in any position to do whatever they want to the enemy team.
Yeah, I mean, there's not been a kill for quite a while now, so the side of Dave's really just pressing this lead as much as they can without risking losing too much. We've seen it in the last game where Dave's had a massive lead over Hell's Minions, but I think being maybe too aggressive with the lead. Yes, they were trying to play it, but maybe playing it a little bit too much, feeling themselves a touch too much and more than they should have done. So this time maybe learning from their previous mistakes, playing a little bit slower, taking what they can without overstepping their bounds, and it's really working out for them here. And I would just like to see, though, this Carly maybe go a bit more aggressive, and I don't think you quite caught it. But Archie did blink stun onto Disco, which not only did it miss, but Disco also beats nothing.
Oh well, I
Sorry
mean
for
that's a win. That's a win. But I mean, blink stun not anything. I mean, you can't hit everything. So
Especially if your name's Archie Baker.
there is a Najjar coming onto this Zola here. I believe that's
Speaking
a
of not-
3 or 4 man gang over on Zola here. I mean, this ammo is just wrecking everyone. That is so many people coming over just for Zola. I mean, Dave's team has coordinated all here, and Jinx picking up the Achilles, and that will be just a free Fire Giant.
Yeah, that's an instant call. Archie Baker not even there into that fight yet. Rotating over from the left-hand side. Straight in here. Fire Giant is the call. All it takes at the moment when you're in such a lead is just one member, just one thing to swing a fight from a 5v5 to 4 versus 5 in your favour. And they're quite comfortable here to commit to a Fire Giant. Fire Giant drops, you've got Archie backing here, looking to clear them, push the left-hand lane. Chernobog trying to push that one up. Try to just get as much pressure on the map as they can without losing too much. But this should be a mid and potentially left tier 2 siege here. Even a Phoenix or 2 should drop here whilst this Fire Giant's active.
I mean, if I'm Hell's Minions right now, I'm not even defending tier 2. You just let the tier 2 go. I mean, you're so far down that it should just be best case scenario defending the Phoenixes. Like, these tier 2 towers just do not do enough damage to these tanks to warrant trying to defend the tier 2.
Yeah, no, I agree, but that is quite big there for the side of Hell's Minions. That is 3 ultimates already used for not really any advantage. Zola ultimate forced out. Ptolemy forced to use the ultimate, I believe, may have been just a zone, but it does mean that they are still two ultimates up, sorry, on the side of Hell's Minions here, so could definitely not have a big impact with these ultimates sat standing, but Dave's again, look at this, backing off, take the gold for him, back away, spend the gold, they're just not forcing anything, but just taking enough so it makes these entire engages and interactions worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're Dave's, you've got the gold lead, so you're looking at getting as much out of your gold lead as possible. So you want to be back, you get back, you buy all the items you can, and have as much as a power spike as you can against the Hell's Minions team. But I would have liked to see the tier 2 taken on the left side before they backed. Everyone was pretty healthy, and I don't think that Hell's, even with the ultimates up, could have, you know, held on to tier 2, but we are seeing everybody's ultimates coming back up. The autonomy is going to be up in the next like 20 or 30 seconds, and then everyone should be back up, and they're already sieging tier 2. Armor's dashing to get rid of the churn presence, and we're looking at a fight on just the armor ult as well. Getting sashed under Phoenix though, with the Najar ult coming out, might be in trouble here, as Zola gets thrown back into Phoenix and just absolutely taken out of the fight. Maybe a little bit too optimistic actually. But the Geb ult comes out, and there's a decent siege defense here, as the Morgan Le Fay ult comes out, and that's a lot of the ults down on the side of Hels for Zolat.
Yeah, that's a lot committed for Zola, but I think in that situation, Zola's done his job. He's forced ultimates out. He's forced a massive response from the opposing team. Tier 2 did fall, but I feel as though Zola didn't need to lose his life for that push there. And you can see there from the play damage, IM4 is back on top of it. Just like last game, he is starting to become a problem. Kinsai is online now as well. And if I'm the side of Dave's here, they need to be noticing this threat immediately and looking to try and deal with it in the upcoming fights.
I mean, I think Zola definitely went in a little bit too early. Geb wasn't there, they were taking tier 2, and Zola was getting out of Naja and thrown back all the way into the back of the Phoenix and was just caught out. I think there was just a bit of lack of communication there on the side of Dave's.
Yeah, I think Zola, like you say, just went a little bit too far there. Starting to get more protections online now, though. And off the back of that previous back slow, didn't get a chance to mention that a lot of starter items starting to get completed here. Amaterasu starter item completed. Carly had hers finished. We're now seeing Baba and Geb as well with the starters. I would expect to see the Jingwei delay it a bit. Yep, Deathbringer now online. So this Jingwei now here, as soon as she gets the arrow upgraded, it's going to be detrimental for the opposing team with the explosive bolts and 80% crit chance coming through with this Kin's passive as well. She should be able to start to look to not only blow up the back line but also chunk through the front liners.
It's definitely interesting to see IM4 2 games now not opting to go for that crit build, more opting to go for the pen build to try and rip the tanks a new one instead of going to the crit and blowing up people.
Yeah, there's definitely one way to look at it, but it seems to be working for him so far. The biggest issue, though, if you look at the game, how it's been going, the Geb's definitely been putting a lot of work in creating space for his team. The Amaterasu, a huge pain for his team as well. So if he can help just to strip through these players as well and help, not only that, but Kinsai's, as well as his pen build, does help get rid of the Geb shield that little bit quicker, I feel. So definitely going to help his team out.
That is a blink sash onto Morgan Le Fay, though. Well, not sash, blink stun onto Morgan Le Fay by Archie, and Morgan Le Fay will fall, and that will probably lead to the mid Phoenix dying. Morgan Le Fay may be out of position. That's Amaterasu all coming in. The Chernobog dashes into the wall and gets outside. Jingwei slowly taking down this Phoenix as the Dave's team will take the Phoenix, and you'll be looking at the left Phoenix next.
Yeah, Halpar starting to drop low here. They could look to end here. I would expect to. Maybe, no, they look like they're going to back up here. No fire giant buff is available. FG has actually been up for quite a little while here, so I think maybe that is the safer option. Go for the fire, back with the gold that you've got off that siege. You want a Jingwei to look to start to complete her starter item. Last couple defense items for the solo laner and the support here. Then try and look to siege down this left or potentially even the right lane Phoenix. Then look to try and take an end. As you see, Disco had got picked up off that fight as well, and the Morgan Le Fay, both of them just now respawning.
Yes, which is why I was thinking they could have maybe out of it and then gone fire, but maybe Dave wasn't liking the risk that, you know, half the team was going to respawn. Maybe they lose a person to the extra fifth siege, so maybe the fire giant was the correct call here, playing safe. And now they could get the Gold Fury basically for free, but I honestly would just like to see them just going down the left side of the map and just killing, because what is a Primal Fury going to do at this point?
Yep, and as we see here now, as they are dropping the Primal Fury, Golden Blades have been sold by both members of Dave's here. Ikaiwa picked up on the Amaterasu and got Silverbrand, sorry, completed for the Kali here. So finally just getting rid of these last helpful farming tools and now looking just to pressure even more, get stronger items in replays and look to try and end this game.
Yeah, and I mean, 28 minutes into the game, this only just hit 20, only just able to get to that Bumba's hammer spike there, and is very far behind this Kali. So I want to see this Kali do so much in this next fight, and this Achilles here just in the right side of the map. So I mean, Dave's here could be looking, I mean, Achilles teleporting into the left now, it seems, but it looks like it got cancelled by Archie. So I mean, I want to see them go more aggressive and just try and take this Phoenix on left in the 4v4.
Yeah, 4v4 situation. Carly split pushing right. We'll be able to rip through a tower herself pretty quickly. I feel Ring Bounce coming through doesn't do a whole lot of damage. But anyone really on the side of Dave's just so healthy at these frontliners. There's all that's up to go in.
Yeah, Zolat with the ultimate, looking at just trying to rip out all of the backline as Kali takes the right Phoenix. Jingtian ult comes out just again, and as Zolat solo Naja, unfortunately has been so far behind this game, and this will probably be the end as all three Phoenixes are down. And Dave's looking to end as the Titan is already down to a quarter of its HP, and it's down. Dave's pretty solid game there at the end.
Yeah, Dave played the game beautifully the last time these teams met. It was actually a 2-0 sweep to the side of Hell's Minions. Dave taking game with Hell Minions, clawing back a victory for game 2. 30 minutes in, nearly 10-2, and Dave's take it 2-1. Finally being able to redeem themselves after last time these two teams met.
Yeah, I mean, that was honestly, I want to see this more from Dave's. Like game 1 and 2, they felt like very discoordinated, and there was a lot of things that we pointed out that needed to be done. But in game 3, I mean, they got the early lead, they abused the fact they had that lead, and they just took it all the way to the end of the game. I mean, there was only 2 deaths there coming in on the end at the end for Dave's.
Archie feeding.
Archie is feeding, honestly, and
That's
Zola.
to be expected. Yeah, but Zola died against like 5 of them. Archie died to Morgan, like soloed, I think. Archie's feeding.
Imagine Archie Baker feeding.
Archie always feeds.
He does. But I mean, the wards here as well. There's a lot more wards on Dave's this time. 21 though on the side of on just Jing alone. But the rest of the team over there on Hell's Mid just not warding that much. Maybe that vision played a big part into, you know, some of those ganks. Archie Baker getting ahead. Zola, I mean, this man needs to be a regular player on Dave's.
Apparently so. I mean, you see here Baba and Jingwei actually overtaking Archie and Zola in the end of this game here on player damage. Jingwei actually top, just able to strip through 0-2 and 2. And not a single death on the Xing Chan, just showing you he's a pretty safe god, just trying his best to peel. But you see Disco Furry only 8.5k, so not quite having the impact that he had last game. I feel as though Archie Baker was left alone a little bit too much in the back line. And Disco wasn't able to maybe have the impact, never was able to get into a position to try and take any of the backliners up, and not able to necessarily try and use the ultimate to peel too much either. So not quite having the same impact as it had in the previous game.
Yeah, I do think this was a mainly that I feel draft issue on the side of Hell's Minions. The Dave's team got a very good draft game 3, and Hell's Minions just didn't quite get there with the draft. The Naja didn't really do much. I'd like to see maybe a Bakasura. He was open. I think Nem was open game 3 as well.
Yeah.
So this Naja, maybe a comfort pick for Disco, didn't really do enough for what we wanted to see from the tanky, because she went for a tanky Naja. Maybe we needed more of a hyper carry Baka to keep up with the Archie Baker, Kali. And the Jing Tian here picked up last pick, I believe, into a Geb Jing Wei. So maybe not the best game for a Jing Tian. Again, the Athena pick they hovered at the start of game 3 may have been a better pick for Hell's minions. And hopefully
Yeah.
they will take this into games going forwards.
Yeah, I think they definitely had the options to try and peel off. I think Zolat was just left alone too much on the right hand side. I don't think we saw Disco enough over on that right hand side to try and alleviate the pressure. As soon as Zolat got that golden blade online, he was just able to run around. He was constantly checking the opposing side's jungle, looking to try and steal the backs, looked for the speed buff, looked for blue buffs, even proxy farming multiple times, and just seemed to get away with it all the time. Just not enough notice, or even seemed to be a lack of communication on the side of Hell's minions.
Yeah, but a very good game played by Dave. Who was your MVP for this set? The 3 games that were played.
For the 3 games that were played, for game 3, it had to be Zola, but across all 3 games, it's a difficult question. I mean,
I think
IM4 still seemed to show up pretty well. Play damage still pretty even, actually, in the top of the charts for his team. So he's seriously trying to put in the work across all games. But I think I might have to give this one over to Archie. Even though they did lose the second game, he still had just a massive impact and was just able to try and do what he needed to do for his team.
no, yes, I agree. Archie was very, very big in the Fenrir game. Even though he got behind, he was able to keep himself back in the game, keep relevant in game 1, and get them the win in game 1. My MVP though, I think, is IM4. Even though in this game, obviously his team fell behind, it was kind of rough, but he still managed to get the damage numbers out. Game 2, he was a big contributor into the game, and I give my MVP to IM4.
Yeah, both players did incredibly well. Both teams did really well. Both teams definitely had a couple of slip ups, as we say. Both teams sent to build this early 1,500, 2,000 gold lead, and then sent to just kind of not really know what to do with it. Didn't seem to transition it very well into the mid game. Sent to lose it as well just through passive farming. And even when in the second game, Dave's did have that lead, I feel as though they kind of pushed it a little bit too far at times, which did cause them to fall behind.
Yes. Well, that was a great set and great job casting with the Evo. That was a 2-1 to Dave's. A bit of an upset. Last time they played, it was a 2-0 to Hell's Minions. The next time I believe we're on stream will probably be tomorrow. I am playing. It'll be lower division finals. Space
Yes.
Out versus Protectors of Eucrystal, which
Do you
is
forget
my
your own
team.
team name?
I did forget my own team name, but
Good job.
we will see you tomorrow around, which is my game. So until then, goodbye.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them scream?